Hello and welcome back to another live stream here on the David Rams channel. If you're new here, my name's David Rams. I make videos about basically trying to make the world a better place for animals. So if you're somebody who wants to make the world a better place for animals, you're in the right place. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about Nikki Glaser. So Nikki Glaser is a very, very successful, very famous comedian who recently hosted the Golden Globes Awards. And before that, I think her latest, most famous thing was the Tom Brady roast. And that's where I saw, I think, my favorite comedy of hers. I'd seen her around before in a couple of different videos and a couple of different clips. But yeah, with the Tom Brady roast was when I realized, like, wow, she's actually like insanely funny. And yeah, just recently did the Golden Globes. And as it happens, as it turns out, apparently Nikki Glaser is, in fact, a vegan. There's a but, though. I'm a vegan, but. Now, what I'm referring to there in the thumbnail is something Nikki says in an interview that I watched a little bit of. She says, I'm a vegan and I'm vegan, but, and she goes on to say something else after that. What do you think that would be? Have some guesses in the live chat now. What do you think she says after that? I think... I've not done a clickbait, okay? The thumbnail isn't clickbait. She genuinely does say, but, and there is something that follows it. But what comes after that might surprise you. It surprised me, I'll tell you that. So we're going to take a look at that today. We're going to take a look at everything that Nikki Glaser has said about veganism, about animals, and the kind of comments she's made in various podcasts and interviews over the years. We're going to have a look at that. Before we get to that, we will watch some of her comedy, and hopefully we'll be able to get away with it because YouTube is a little funny. Well, not YouTube, but the accounts that run, host the comedy clips and things like that can be a little funny about copyright and stuff. So hopefully we'll be able to show you some of her comedy as well, so we can see what she's about for those who don't know who Nikki Glaser is. But that's not all we're going to do today, okay? That's just how we kick things off. Then after we've kind of got into that topic, had a good look into it, made our minds up, explored, we're going to look into some other stuff. So we got some news reports on Veganuary, which is pretty cool. 2 of those. We've got a video to check out by Mike the Vegan. There was this thing going around claiming that vegans have smaller brains than other people. And so that sounds funny. I didn't have a chance to have a proper look into it. And Mike the Vegan did a video on it. So we're going to watch a video about this whole claim that vegans have smaller brains, which I'm sure is going to be an entertaining one. Then we're going to have a look at a video about how to go vegan in 2025, like some kind of food and recipes and things like that for people who are interested in kicking things off in 2025, how to eat plant-based, how to eat an animal-free diet. We're going to have a look at that as well. And possibly, if we feel like it, we might have a look at this anti-vegan social media guy who made 2 videos, part 1 and 2, claiming he cured a vegan. That's what he says in his thing. I cured a vegan, he claims. So we're going to see if he cured a vegan or not. I don't know. Cure a vegan of what? Probably cure a vegan of having a small brain, if we believe what these kinds of people say about us. Oh, his small brain, huh? So silly. So yeah, we'll get to that. That's the plan for today. If you're watching this on the replay, get down in the comments now and let us know you're excited. Hit the like button. If you're watching this live right now, get in the live chat now. Let me know what you're thinking. Does this sounding good to you guys? Like the video, put some stuff in the like, share it with a friend as well. Share it with a friend and say, hey, this is something that I think you should get over and watch because this is going to be a good stream. If you think it's going to be a good stream, help me out. All right, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to make an attempt at watching Nikki Glazer's Oscars monologue, which is supposed to be pretty damn good. I've not seen it yet, so I'll be reacting to it live at the same time you are. When I say attempt because this is from the Golden Globes official YouTube, and I don't know if they are going to have a problem with me playing it. So we'll just take it as we go, I guess. So here it is. This is Nikki Glaser. This is who we're talking about today. This is the comedian we're going to discuss today. And here she is doing her opening monologue at the 82nd Annual Golden Globes to give you an idea of who this is.
Good evening and welcome to the 82nd Golden Globes, Ozempic's biggest night. If you're watching on CBS, hello. If you're watching on Paramount Plus, you have 6 days left to cancel your free trial. I'm Nikki Glazer, and I am absolutely thrilled to be your host tonight. Thank you.
I'm going to pause. I'm going to keep pausing as we go through just to show that we are pausing it. We are leaving some gaps. I would say those two jokes, though, are pretty soft considering I know what she's like. If you guys saw the roast of Tom Brady, you'll know that she is way more brutal than that. So I'm excited to see if how deep and how politically incorrect this gets.
Feels like I finally made it. You know, I'm in a room full of producers at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, and this time all of my clothes are on. So yeah, it was worth it. Now, some of you may know me as a stand-up comedian and from my appearances on Roast, but I am not here to roast you tonight. I want you to know that, and how could I, really? You're all so famous, so talented, so powerful. I mean, you could really do anything. I mean, except tell the country who to vote for, but it's okay. You'll get them next time, if there is one. I'm scared. Ariana, hold my finger. Thank you. Thank you.
So I don't know how up to date you guys are on American politics, but she's like referring to the fact that pretty much every celebrity, major celebrity, Hollywood celebrity in the States, all told people who to vote for, and it was Kamala Harris. And then basically most of the country said, nah, you're all right, and then didn't do what they said, which was probably like the first time in a long time that's happened, and it kind of exposed Hollywood basically is that no one really cares what actors think anymore, which I think is probably a good thing, to be honest with you. We let actors and celebrities have their way and convince people to do things, I think, for a little too long, you know. Anyway, I'll continue. I have to keep pausing, but I know you don't appreciate my commentary on comedy, right? But I have to keep pausing, otherwise I'm pretty sure they'll try and get this stream paused because we're playing copyrighted stuff.
Tonight we celebrate the best of film and hold space for television. Yes. Wicked, queer, night bitch. These are not just words Ben Affleck yells after he orgasms. These are some of the incredible movies nominated tonight. The Bear, The Penguin, Baby Reindeer. These are not just things found in RFK's freezer. These are TV shows nominated tonight. And what a night. I look out and I see some of the hardest working actors in show business. And by that I mean your servers. Yes. Yes, give it up. They'll be bringing you your cocktails to drink and your food that you'll look at. But I also see some absolute Hollywood legends. I mean, we have got some huge movie stars here tonight. Kate Winslet is here, Kate Blanchett, Colin Farrell. And let's not forget so many huge TV stars as well. Kate Winslet, Kate Blanchett, Colin Farrell. I mean, even Oscar-winning actor Eddie Redmayne did TV this year. He's nominated for Peacock's The Day of the Jackal, yes? Yes, it's about a top secret elite sniper that no one can find because he's on Peacock. I think I've seen more actual peacocks in my life than shows on Peacock, but Denzel Washington is here for Gladiator 2. Cynthia Erivo is here for Wicked. And Martin Short is here because we have cameras. I love you. Zendaya is here. Zendaya, you were incredible in Dune. Oh my God, I woke up for all of your scenes. You were so good.
Hey, Dune's an awesome film. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was great.
And Challengers, girl, oh my God, it was so good. I mean, that movie was more sexually charged than Diddy's credit card. I mean, seriously. Oh, no, I know, I'm sorry. I'm upset too. The after party's not gonna be as good this year, but we have to move on.
Oh my God.
I know Stanley Tucci Freak-Off just doesn't have the same ring to it, but...
That is not going down well. Oh my God.
No baby oil this year, just lots of olive oil, okay?
Jesus.
Tilda Swinton is here. Tilda Swinton. Amazing. Tilda Swinton is, of course, nominated this year for her role as Timothy Chalamet. You're amazing. Where is Timothy Chalamet? Timothy, hi, Timothy. You were great as Timothy Chalamet this year, too. Really. And I love you. And can I just say, you have the most gorgeous eyelashes on your upper lip. I think this is just such a good look. I love you. Dude, you were so good in A Complete Unknown as Bob Dylan. Wasn't he just incredible? So good, dude. Seriously. In fact, I actually read that your singing voice was so accurate that even Bob Dylan himself admitted that it was absolutely horrible. You nailed it. And you know, Timothy, you're just so great at playing these like beloved eccentrics. Dylan, Willy Wonka. Who's next? Adam Sandler? Please. Actually, your name sounds like something Adam Sandler would say. No, Salome. Timothy and Salome. Oh, yes, Timothy Chalamet. I think Sandler's here. Sandler, can I get a Chalamet? Chalamet. Oh, Chalamet. A good Chalamet to you, sir.
It got way too American for me just now, so we'll pause there. All right, so that gives you an idea of who Nikki Glaser is. Big comedian, millions and millions of followers on Instagram as well and across social media. A very big deal. And so, what does Nikki have to say about veganism? Let's take a look into that. So, roughly about, well, quite relatively recently, or around a year back, she brought it up in a podcast, and there's more recent videos as well, which we'll talk about a little later on. And I will quickly load this up, and then we'll take a look at the vegan conversation that took place in this podcast, which I think you're going to find really interesting. And this is where the but comes in. This is the not like a bum, as in like the but in the thumbnail, where there is a but. All right, where are we up to? Let's see. It's here, I think. All right, then. Let's have a watch of this and see what Nikki says about being a vegan. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
And not wasting a single line.
Yeah.
And there's no filler.
Yeah, he's like really zoned in on it, locked in basically.
Yeah, you can tell that guy gets off stage, is going to his notes and going, what did I do on right that time? And before set, he's going over his notes. I mean, I've seen it kind of happen backstage before, and I've kind of noticed, oh, he's on his laptop when I'm over here, you know, eating skinny pop or something, you know, and just
Skinny
trying
pop.
to.
You're vegan. I did some research.
Yeah, I am.
I want to ask on tour though. That must be hard, like especially when you're in the.
No.
Really? In the South, like it's all
so
like
easy. Thai food. If you
Thai
just do
food.
Thai food, there's always just veggies and tofu.
Okay.
True.
Asian cuisine always has tofu.
True.
Got it.
Nowhere else does. So they always have something. I really don't struggle with it that much. And then
So Thai food is a good shout. Also, Indian food is a good shout. So basically, she's right, Asian food. I suppose Indian food is included in Asian food. If you can find yourself an Indian restaurant or a Chinese restaurant, the majority of the time, you just tell them no meat, no ghee in the Indian restaurant, no ghee, no cream, no meat. They do tons of just vegetable and noodle dishes, vegetable and rice dishes, stuff like that.
the bigger you get a rider, and you have like a list of things that you want backstage for you.
Wow.
But I always have like protein bars and stuff. Like, I'm not one of these vegans that puts people out by going like, we have to go to a vegan restaurant. Like, I usually don't actually suggest that for people who aren't vegan, because I don't want people to be grossed out by veganism or whatever. I don't want to shame people for not being it, although I do.
Yeah.
There you go. There was the but that I was getting at. So I don't want to take people to vegan restaurants. Okay, why not? Why would you not take people to a vegan restaurant, especially if they're doing the, nice juicy vegan burgers, juicy vegan sausages, stuff like that? It's a great place to take them. And then the thing that vegans always hear this, right? I don't want to shame people, but I'm not one of those vegans. But did you see what happened immediately after? And this is what I said might surprise you. Listen again. She went from, but I don't want to shame people, and straight away says,
out by veganism or whatever. I don't want to shame people for not being it, although I do at times, because you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
There's no question. I mean, I get why you
Morally,
do it.
right.
I was not a vegan forever, but there's no question that harming animals that have the same intelligence as your cats and your dogs, your beloved cats and dogs, and we ruin people's lives if we find out they even hit a dog or kick a dog. Yet there's pigs and cows who are either equally as intelligent as your dog or more intelligent, and we are putting them through a life of suffering. They don't see 1 second from when they're born to when even when they're conceived, they're in stress. Their mom is in stress because she's locked in a thing and someone's, raping her with a test tube or however they're bred.
Yeah.
And then they're born. There's not a moment where they go, mama, mama. They're stolen right away as little infants going, where am I going? Their whole lives are filled with fear and just terror from the second they wake up, and then they become numb to it, and then they're just robots because they're being tortured and they have to just disassociate, and then they're murdered. So murder is the best part of their life. When someone's like, I'm sorry I'm eating this steak, I'm always like, don't be. I'm so happy for that cow that it's out of its horrible life that it had before it was.
Yeah.
The bullet going through that cow's head was the pinnacle of its existence.
Yeah.
That its suffering was over.
They shoot them?
Oh yeah, they shoot them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What do you think they did?
So to be clear here, what she's saying there is something that I've actually thought about myself as well, in that for these animals, for the majority of animals in farms, in dairy farms, in meat farms, egg farms, for the majority of them, 99.9999%, there is no future they can escape and live a healthy, happy life. There is no future. The best they can hope for is death. And that's what she's getting at here. And how horrifying is that the best they can hope for is to die. Because the longer they stay alive in these places, the longer the just horrors go on. The horrors continue, whether it's the horrors of their bodies failing them because of the way they've been selectively bred to grow too quickly, or the way that they have been unhealthily bred so that if they pass a certain age, they start to have all these different health problems, which happens to all chickens, cows, pigs, all of them have this. Even if they are rescued, it's a lifetime of veterinary visits and bills and all sorts of operations and all sorts of, so you have to spend so much money to get them just to a point where they have a basic level of health. Not because of them being a cow or being a pig or being a chicken, but because of how farmers have selectively bred them to be that way, to be able to have high production of eggs or a high production of milk, or be able to be big and muscular so they produce more meat. Or that's the only reason they're like that. And so because we can't even rescue them, because the chances of rescuing them is so slim, as I'll repeat, like she's saying, the best they can hope for is death. And just how depressing and sad is that? They're literally born, and their only escape from this hell is to die. And she put it in a really, quite a brutal, quite a savage way. But I mean, it's reality. It's the absolute reality. And that's why so many of us are choosing to eat animal-free diets, is because we don't want to be a part of that absolutely disgraceful reality. We don't want to be paying money to people who breed animals where the only escape from their torture is to die. Why would anyone willingly be a part of that if they have a basic respect for animals, which the vast majority of people in the world do have that basic respect for animals? And so that's why we make these videos. That's why I make these live streams. That's why for the 116 people watching, I hope you're listening, and I hope some of you are considering switching to animal-free foods for these reasons. Let's see what else this guy has to say, because she did ask him, what do you think happens? And I'm curious to see what he says back.
It was over.
They shoot them?
Oh yeah, they shoot them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What do you think they did?
I don't
Just
know.
like
I thought
gently
they cut
put
their neck or something.
Oh yeah, maybe they do that too, which doesn't sound
What
better.
was that? They break their
No,
neck?
I thought they
Gently
cut
put
their
them-
neck or something.
Cut their neck. Yeah. So what he said is, I thought they cut their neck or something. They do both. They shoot them and they cut their necks. So basically with cows, what they will do with cows is they will shoot them in the head with what's called a captive bolt gun. So it's a little gun, and a piece of metal comes out of it really fast, and it cracks their skull basically and supposedly knocks them unconscious. Not every time, by the way. Sometimes they are still conscious in the things that follow, but it's supposed to knock them unconscious, and then they hang them upside down, and then they slash them across the throat. And that's how they kill cows. With pigs, it can vary. In some places, they may use the same technique, but that's not very common. In other places, they will use these prongs that have electric going through them, and they put that on their temples, and they turn it on, and it knocks them unconscious. And then they do the same thing. They hang them up and they slit their throats. But the most common way to kill pigs, to stun and kill pigs, is to use gas chambers, which most people don't believe me. When I've spoken about this before, I have many people in the comments who say, No way. No way. It is absolutely fact. And it's not coming from vegans. It's coming from the industries, the pork industry that does this. They openly admit it. There are companies that sell gas chambers. You can go online and you could buy one today if you wanted to, a pig gas chamber. They're not hiding it. It's just not necessarily promoted either. You need to be in the know. You need to be in the system to know these things, right? Or you need to be paying attention or looking into it like we do, like vegans do. So the majority of pigs, they're killed in gas chambers. The next thing that people say after they find out about that, they say, well, oh, you mean they get put to sleep? You mean it's like the gas comes in and they go to sleep? That sounds lovely. That's what it is, right? No, it's not what it is. It's concentrated CO2 gas. To show you an idea of what it would feel like to be in a gas chamber filled with high concentration CO2 gas, get yourself a bottle of Coke or a bottle of fizzy pop, whatever it is. Give it a little fizz, but not too much. Right? Let drink some of it. Leave a gap at the top. Give it a little fizz, a little shake. Open the top, squeeze it, and then breathe the air in. You know that? You know you can squeeze it a little bit and some air comes out. Breathe that in. Let it go up your nose. Tell me how it feels. That's CO2. What it does is it burns your nose. It feels horrible. It makes your eyes water. And that's really low concentration. Now imagine you had a whole room of that and it's high concentrations, way more powerful. It's going in your nose, it's going in your eyes, it's going down your throat, and it's burning the whole time. It doesn't just stop at your throat, also it burns your lungs too, because it forms an acid. And this is what's happening to pigs in gas chambers. This is what they do to them. They scream and they thrash and they try to escape and they scream for mercy, basically just desperately trying to survive. And eventually they are either knocked out or killed. And there's two of the main methods or three of the main methods that are used to kill animals. With chickens, they will use electrified water. So they'll drop them in electrified water, which electrocutes them, like zaps them, knocks them unconscious, and then they'll slit their throats. Or in some cases, they will just cut their heads off or slit their throats. It's all of the systems, they all slit the animals' throats. People seem to think that only halal killing does that. No, all killing for all animal products, all meat products. The egg industry, when they don't lay eggs anymore, they go to the meat industry. The dairy cows, when they don't make milk anymore, don't make as much milk, they go to the meat industry. So all of these animals will have their throats cut. And many people, this guy didn't know that. He said, I thought they cut their throats, but he doesn't know about gas chambers. He didn't know about the bolt gun that we just discussed. He doesn't know about the electrical stunning. He doesn't know about any of these things. Most people don't know about it. That's why I'm here, and I hope now that you know about it. I hope that this was a learning experience for some people watching, and hope you'll look more into this, look into the animal-free options.
Oh yeah, maybe they do that too, which doesn't sound any better. I would rather be shot than have my neck sliced.
I didn't know they were as smart as dogs, though. That's gonna make me think a little more. I'm not gonna lie.
Dogs are kind of stupid. They're really
my dog's
intelligent.
Pretty smart.
I'm sure it is, but I'm just saying they are capable of. And even if they're not, like, why do we don't? If a human's less intelligent than another human, we don't like treat them worse.
That's true.
So why are we even, just because something's stupider doesn't mean it doesn't want love and comfort. And I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad about what you're doing, because I'm not a perfect vegan. There are times where I've done like a weed gummy and I know it has animal bones in it or whatever, and I go, well, I'll make the exception. Or, I step on a bug and I'm like, you can't be perfect. But all I ask is that you just acknowledge the pain that this animal that you're eating and going, I don't like this chicken. Ew. Like, just acknowledge that was a bird that like wanted to live.
Fair.
And it doesn't mean you're a bad person or going to hell. Just if you just think about it a little bit.
Fair. I'll agree with that.
Chickens I stopped eating because I was like, I had parakeets growing up. And if someone would have ever done this to my parakeet, I would have killed them. Yet it's okay to do to chickens? It doesn't make sense. So that's what made me a vegan. I miss eating meat. I miss eating cheese, all of the things. I just can't do it because I just think about those animals. But if you are not vegan.
So it's like, she's saying I can't do it because I think about those animals. I think it's better to say I won't do it. And honestly, I think for many vegans out there, I think if we're being honest with ourselves, when we grow up with eating meat, we grow up eating eggs or grow up eating cheese, and we have all these memories tied to these products. I mean, it's not crazy to say that you have fond memories and maybe miss the taste of certain products. I think that's pretty common. So, I mean, her saying like, oh, I miss the meat, I miss the cheese. I've noticed a lot of people will say, aha, that means that you aren't a real vegan, or that means that you crave it or something like that. It's the same as saying, I don't know, if you quit sugar, you would miss sugar. Processed sugar. Like if you quit chocolate and if you quit eating gummies and I don't know, candy, of course you would miss the candy. It doesn't mean the candy is good for you, and it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you actually believe in eating candy if you quit it for health reasons. It doesn't mean you think it's healthy because you crave it, does it? And it goes for this is the same with like meat and cheese. If someone misses eating meat and cheese, it doesn't mean they crave it, and it doesn't mean they think it's good. They just missed that taste, right? And this is where things like the animal-free alternatives and meat made from different things and meat made from different plants like mushroom or soy or seitan or spiced in certain ways to make it imitate, kind of look like, taste like, feel like meat, or making animal-free cheeses and animal-free milks and things like that. A large part of that is so that people who don't want to be responsible for all of those horrible things being done to animals, they can still get those nice tastes and textures and all those things that they grew up with and enjoyed. And that's a large reason also for the creation of things like I don't know, these fermented animal-free meats and things like that, and the technology is getting better and better, and it's getting closer and closer to imitating animal products. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. Well, now I guess you do understand it now. It's because if you stopped eating candy because you had some kind of diabetes or something like that, you had some condition. If they released a candy that was identical to all of the other amazing candy that you love, but it had absolutely no health implications, none, like there was no problem for your diabetes, no problem for weight gain, no problem for anything, you would want that, wouldn't you? Of course you would, if that was an option. Well, that's the same as a vegan who wants to eat something that tastes like meat, looks like meat. It doesn't mean they want meat. It means they want all of that experience just without the animals involved. In the same way, somebody who's diabetic would love to have all of the candy and chocolate and cake without the diabetes involved. And that's exactly it, So and then we get into that world. We're already in that world. I mean, I really enjoy the kind of cheesy flavors. I always did enjoy cheesy flavors. I'm completely taken care of as a vegan. I get loads of different animal-free. I make my own. We can make our own animal-free cheesy type stuff very easily, using stuff like nutritional yeast and a combination of different ingredients that give this kind of cheese. Because all these animal products, they're all flavors. Like meat has a flavor, cheese has a flavor, eggs have a flavor. And all you got to do is find those flavors or things that are kind of similar flavors, and you can combine stuff to make the same flavor. It's not like only cheese can taste like cheese. There are other things that smell and taste like cheese. There are other things that smell and taste like eggs. And so yeah, I'm taken care of, and that's only going to get better as time goes on as well. So yeah.
Again, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. I think you're probably just in denial, because if you think about it too much, you wouldn't. If you saw the footage, if you saw what's happening to them, you wouldn't be able to do it, because no one would. It's a psychopathic thing to be able to do. But we disassociate. We put up the blinders, and you have to, because it tastes so good.
This is it. And that's what she's just nailed the point there. She said it's almost psychopathic, and you kind of have to be a little bit, because that's the only way you can disassociate yourself. I mean, if you see what happens to animals in a slaughterhouse, you see the pigs in the gas chambers, the only way that you could go on eating pork after seeing a pig in a gas chamber is if you disassociate. And then that's kind of, to put it in, it's a very rude way of putting it. And a lot of people will be upset about using that word, the psychopathic. But that is ultimately what suffering from psychopathy, if you have that condition, it's a disassociation from your emotions. That's the point. They don't feel guilt. They don't feel much of anything. And that is kind of what people do when it comes to animals. They on the one hand, we absolutely love dogs. We love our cats. We love our pets. We see them and we fully embrace them with all of our emotion. We give them every part of us. But then if we did that for the pigs, if we did that for the cows, if we did that for the chickens, then it would mean that we'd all have to be vegans. I mean, we'd all have to be animal free. So people instead choose a lot of people at least choose quite a cold approach to a pig or a cow or a chicken, an almost completely disassociated approach, no feelings or very minimal feelings towards them, and nowhere near the amount of love that they would give to a dog. And it's it's quite sad. They've done nothing to deserve that treatment. A pig has done nothing to deserve us to look at them and go, oh, they're just a pig. Who cares? What the hell did they do to deserve that? And then a dog, on the other hand, gets all of our love. And I see videos and of people going in, firefighters going in LA, and they're rescuing cats and dragging them out of the fire. And we'll do so much for cats. We'll do so much for dogs. But, not that long ago, there were, fires happening in a chicken farm in America, and a couple of chicken farms. And you didn't see people running in there to save the chickens. They just kind of, oh well, that's 3,000 chickens are dead now. Well, oh well, there's a fire. Get over it. What did the chicken do to deserve that? Think about it, right? What did the chicken do to deserve this? To deserve to be dismissed like that? It's very sad. And this is kind of what she's commenting on here and what she says there. And I have to agree with her.
Does.
Yeah.
I want to talk about F-Boy Island.
Yeah,
'Cause
please.
that is
Okay, I think they've moved on now, onto a different topic. But yeah. So I think this was pretty interesting, and then a very honest and a very, very brutally honest account of why Nikki is a vegan. And I think it's pretty impressive. I think whenever a celebrity is able to speak bluntly like this, I'm very impressed with it, because it's not something you can really do a lot of in these kinds of areas. People judge you, and your agents are probably telling you not to talk about it and don't get too deep into it. But she's known for speaking her mind and known for speaking quite bluntly, which is great in this case. And there's been a couple of other instances as well. So I'll show you this. This was just from about 7 months ago, so relatively recent. She did a little clip with PETA also. We'll take a look at that now. Here it is. So this is Nikki Glaser, comedy queen, fashion crusader, and vegan advocate. This was with PETA about 7 months ago.
We really need to face the facts when it comes to how many animals are being mistreated so that you can look cool. And by the way, you can still look cool just using other types of leather. This is not leather. This is fake leather, and you didn't even notice. This is made out of apples. That was a bad choice because that has been in my life for a while and it's really dirty, and now I have to get a tetanus shot. But I know you're scared because you think you won't look as cool without like real leather things, but I promise you, if that is what your personality is dependent on, you need to go to therapy. And I know you're gonna miss the things that you loved, but just because you like something doesn't mean it's right. I sometimes would like to punch someone in line at Starbucks for taking too long, but I don't do it because it's wrong and it causes harm. So just because you're like, I want to, it's not a good enough reason. I know that if people knew what it took to make the clothes that you wear that are made from animals and eat the foods that are made from animals that you eat, you wouldn't do it. If you become vegan and you really miss the animal cruelty that you used to once take part in, just kick your dog or something. Because it's literally the same thing. You would never put your dog through what sheep have to go through to give up their wool. So stop hiding from the truth. I know it sucks, but I hate to tell you this way. And also, your parents had sex to make you.
Jesus. It was pretty solid, gotta say. There's not much, I've not got much to add to that. That was a really funny and pretty hard, direct way of getting the point across. I can't say I disagree. Solid. Yeah, kicking, if you miss the animal cruelty after you go vegan, go and kick your dog because it's basically the same thing. That's a hard-hitting sentence right there, and I don't think she's wrong, Well, I mean, it's not wrong, is it? Kicking a dog or paying somebody to violate and then kill an animal to eat them, it's actually probably, if you're going to compare the two, it's probably better to kick the dog. Or you could do this crazy thing. You could do neither of those things. Is it? Wow. I mean, I'd vote for neither, personally. I'd vote for neither. How about you guys? Would you do neither, or would you choose one of the other options in that one? Okay, brilliant. That was a cool video. I'd never seen that before. That was a pretty cool clip. So I guess they did that as an ad, maybe, but I never saw it. It never came up for me. There's a couple of other videos too, where Nikki Glaser gets into veganism, and I'm pretty sure one of them is actually a little different. I believe I've seen a little clip of this one. She has a go at other comedians in this one. For something related to veganism. Like I said, I just saw a quick clip of it. Let me load it up and we'll find out where in the video. We'll skip to the point where she starts talking about it. Here it is. All right. Sweet. Yeah, let's have a look at this one then. Let's see what she says about other comedians joking about vegans. This was I think the topic of conversation here. Let's have a look.
Earlier, I was talking about dating this guy that was like a vegan, and at the time I used to make fun of him being a vegan. Of course, now I'm a vegan, and I regret all those lame jokes I used to make in my stand-up set about how vegans are weak. Like, if I hear a stand-up comedian do a joke about vegans and say, like, because they haven't had protein and they're not strong enough, I think you're a hack and you're better than that. And I used to do it too, but you're a hack and I'm tired of it. It just, all vegans are trying to do is like save animals. They're good people and why make fun of them? Anyway, that's my point. But
I only
used
have
to
a
date
problem
a vegan.
with vegan carbonara. That's it. But I'm very protective over carbonara. 'Cause any kind of an Olive Garden carbonara, any kind of American carbonara, it's all umbrella.
Okay.
A fatty meat is part of the bedrock of a good carbonara.
I just get mad because we're like, you can use like because pasta is vegan, isn't it? It's flour
It
and
can
water.
be, yeah.
All dry
Eggs.
pasta. No, there's no eggs in dry pasta.
Okay.
It's flour and water.
Okay, good.
And so stop eating zucchini.
Yeah,
I'm just Italian. That's all
well,
it
that's
is. I
just
get
low
mad.
carb.
I get mad.
I get that.
So just to be clear, he's talking about carbonara there, and he's getting upset about carbonara. Let's break down what carbonara actually is. He's saying, I don't want, it has to be a fatty meat, she says. Fatty meat, carbonara. They're talking about carbonara has pieces of bacon in it. That's what they're getting at. Do you remember earlier on we were talking about the pigs and how they kill the pigs? And I explained to you that they put them in gas chambers and then they use this horrible gas that burns them in their lungs and throats and eyes, burns their noses, leaves them screaming in pain. Remember that? That's what he's talking about when he says, look, my only problem with vegans is when they come after carbonara. Now, I don't think this guy's a bad guy. I don't think he's evil. I don't think he's true. He doesn't even thought this through. But that's the problem, is that people are talking about bacon, and they're talking about bacon, they're talking about vegan bacon, they're talking about things that, it's all just things, meals, dishes. But when you actually break down what he's saying and actually say, if he spent 5 more minutes thinking about it, what he's saying is, I don't like it that vegans want to make a spaghetti carbonara that doesn't involve putting pigs in gas chambers and then killing them, slicing their throats open and chopping them to pieces. I'd prefer my kind of carbonaras with all of that. And then it becomes a little bit, maybe he wouldn't want to say that. I don't think he would sign off on that. I don't think he would agree with what I just said. And because I don't think this guy's an evil person who hates pigs and hates animals and thinks they deserve that, right? But ultimately, that's pretty much what he just said. Now, the thing is, I had a vegan carbonara last night, actually, at a restaurant. And, I'm not going to go out and tell you it was the most amazing thing I've ever eaten in my life. It was all right. It was all right, okay? But the point is that we can do it. And, some restaurants don't get it so good, like that one didn't. And some restaurants, I've had some incredible carbonaras that have been absolutely amazing, like 12 out of 10, incredible, really tasty, juicy pieces of whatever they used, soy, amazing, really nice. But the point is, both of those carbonaras are significantly better than chopping, like doing those things to pigs and then, putting them in gas chambers and hurting and killing them and all that stuff. Even if the animal-free alternative doesn't quite match the flavor or texture, are we really going to all come together and say as a world, as a population that, well, actually, my taste buds and the way the food feels in my mouth is way more important than that pig's life. So put that pig in a gas chamber. I don't believe that the majority of people are happy with that setup. I don't believe the majority of people would say, yes, I agree with you there. There are some out there who would say that. But fortunately, and thank God we're in the position where those people are a minority and other people would look at them and say, dude, you're kind of messed up, Even though they're not vegan, they'd say, I'm not vegan, but that's horrible what he just said. And I like that we have this world. And I don't think this guy would be one of the bad people. I think he'd be one of the good people. It's just that people don't think about it,
Longer impressed by a spiralizer. I cannot be wowed
spiralizer.
by a spiralizing gadget, the Vegadoodle or whatever.
No,
the
if
fuck
someone,
it's called.
if someone thinks that eating zucchini spirals is pasta, you're so stupid and you're
They're
going
out
to be
there.
hungry in 5 minutes. Like,
It's also true,
you have
yeah.
to eat
And they've disgraced my
bathtub
people.
full of zucchini spirals to have the satisfaction of one bite of pasta.
And it
it's
won't
not
be
the same.
Non è al dente.
There is
it's
no
so
such thing
funny
as al dente zucchini.
when men who know nothing about nutrition are on diets and they're like, I'll try cauliflower rice, and then they binge on a pizza later on because they're like they had dinner, but they don't realize they have to eat more of vegetables if you're eating vegetables. People
Right.
just think you can eat a salad and supplement. And I usually eat a hamburger, but I'm gonna eat a salad to be healthy. Well, you're gonna be hungry.
You're
It's
gonna
not
eat,
the
like,
same
3
amount
salads.
of food,
Yes.
you
Yep.
idiot.
See, this is something that's super important, what she just said about diet. If you're going to be starting eating an animal-free diet, right? It's Veganuary, right? So say you're watching this right now and you say you're already doing Veganuary, you're about to start Veganuary. Okay, great. Amazing, first of all. Keep it up, smash through it. You're going to learn some amazing stuff about food. You're making an incredible decision for animals. Please, please keep it up. But this is a really important lesson for you. Don't simply think that eating animal-free means eating salad or zucchini pasta or cauliflower rice or those pizzas with a cauliflower base and think, no. If you start doing that, what Nikki Glaser just said will happen to you. You will be hungry. You will feel probably bad. You will feel like you're not getting enough nutrition. Your energy will go down low. You'll start probably seeing some, I don't know, some bad implications for your face. Maybe you'll get some bags under your eyes. You'll start feeling like a bit lethargic and stuff like that because you won't be getting enough calories. You can't go from eating meat, dairy, and eggs and all these different foods that are super high in calories and then suddenly switch to salad, cauliflower rice, and whatever else kind of zucchini pasta. You're not going to feel good. You might feel good in the first 2 days or something like that. Some kind, I know some people get a detox buzz, all right? But it's not going to last. You're going to start feeling bad. You've got to switch from whatever foods you were eating before, find out what calories you were eating, find out what kind of nutrition you were getting and where from, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got to switch it out for the animal-free version of that. So you need to be getting the same amount of calories or more, if you need more, from the animal-free foods. So high-calorie animal-free foods, things like nuts and seeds and legumes and things, they have all good amounts of calories in them. You can pick up all sorts of different more specialist food if you want to get vegan burgers and stuff like that. It's also usually pretty high in calories. So you've got to make sure, and also nutrition wise, got to make sure that you're replacing the nutrition. You've got to have a varied diet. You've got to have different stuff going on. And trust me, just salad or just a couple vegetables and nothing with substance, nothing with high calories, nothing with enough protein, it's not going to make you feel good in the long run. It really isn't. So make sure you do this properly. If you've not already, sign up with Veganuary because they'll give you all the advice. They'll tell you all the recipes. They'll give you all the information because it's a bit of a learning process, right? You're going from one way of eating to another way of eating. So you're going to need some help. Sign up for Veganuary. It's free. If you don't want to go there for whatever reason, try challenge22.com, also free. Both of these groups have professionals, qualified people who literally volunteer their time because they care about animals and they want to help you make changes for animals. So definitely do that, guys. Super important.
Yep.
It's so.
Yeah, but
Very smart, Nikki.
thank you. What I was gonna say. Oh, I dated this vegan guy, and you remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so I used to always make fun of like how and I attributed some of it to him being vegan, how just like gentle he was and soft and like nurturing, and it kind of just grossed me out, like how much he like was gentle with me.
Still a good bit.
And then I realized, I said that like he was my first lesbian relationship. We did a lot of scissoring. I just felt.
It's a good bit.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's really funny, and so and then I realized today, I think he just loved me. Like I think that I was just rejecting compassionate, just a kind like love, and that was what repulsed me about him, not him, or not the fact that he was vegan, or the fact that he was a rapper, or what.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I know.
Whoa.
He's a brilliant rapper. He really is.
We did.
I'm not trying to get back in with him, but
Is he white?
yes.
Okay. So he is the zucchini pasta of rap.
A little bit.
I thought that
Yeah.
was funny. Is that too mean?
No, it's so
Sorry.
funny.
I thought that was
I didn't
funny.
give it a laugh
No,
because
Okay,
I was
no.
trying to make a
I
joke on
didn't want
top
to
of
offend.
it.
I'm sorry if I hurt. I don't mean
Yeah.
to like. I
It's
don't
in
want
the
to hurt your
sense that I would
feelings.
have needed many of him to satisfy me.
Oh my God.
To have the same as I would have from one black rapper.
Holy shit, that's
Nelly,
so
are you still in
mean.
the building?
Nelly.
Could you imagine being that
Now you're the
guy?
real pasta.
All right, let me pause and just see if, just see if she gets back onto the topic of veganism or not. Oh my God, that's so mean. Let me see if there's any more vegan chat in this one. I really like what she said earlier about this one just goes on for somebody. Yeah, you can go check that video out if you want to see what she has to say, or more she has to say about that poor guy. Yeah, I like what she said about earlier on about the vegan comics and how it's so bloody, it's so hack. You know, it's so hack that they vegans, they're weak. Vegans, where your protein is. It's like, come on, guys. Like, I've not seen a good vegan joke from a comedian in a long time. Like, actually new, fresh, interesting, unique vegan joke. I've got a video we could watch actually and see if it is one. First of all, I'll just say thank you, JP and Julia, for the tip. I appreciate it. The question is, did you see Liv Bowery gave $560,000, 20% of her fourth place finish at the World Poker Championships to pig sanctuaries? She's not vegan, but she explains why here. Hey, that's interesting. Thank you, JP and Julia. I'll check that out. And Five has tipped $5. Thank you, Five. It says, hey, David and Annie, check out my channel for my weekly vegan podcast. Just interviewed the vegan doctor, PETA Rogers, MD. Would love to have you on sometime. Thank you. Appreciate it. But Five, I don't know who you... Oh, did you say the name of... No, you didn't say the name of your podcast. You have to put the name of your podcast in the chat and Annie will take note of it. JP and Julia, we'll check that video out, actually, once we've finished with this current topic that we're on, if that's okay. Because I want to, while we just mentioned that there's no funny comedians that can do content about veganism, material about veganism, let's see if this guy can break the bad streak, because I saw a short that was posted 6 days ago, and it was titled Vegan Crowd Work, and it says Thomas Green. I don't know who this guy is. Never heard his comedy before, never seen his comedy before, but it says Vegan Crowd Work. So this is an opportunity now, a brand new video, a brand new 32 seconds that I've never seen before from a comedian who's going to talk about veganism. Place your bets, guys. Is it going to be funny or is it going to be hack, like Nikki Glaser was just saying? Hack meaning it's going to be, ha ha ha, where'd you get your protein, vegan? Or, oh, I'm surprised you made it here today because, you're so weak. What's it going to be? Is it going to be something like that, or is it going to be something good? We have one vote for hack by Sharon. Sharon saying it's going to be hack. We got Austin Orino says it's going to be funny. So far it's 1 for 1. Okay, then. I think we'll just dive in and let's just see if it's hack or funny.
How long have you been vegan for? 6, 7 years. Nice. Do you have an issue with vegetarians? Is this your first conversation? Let's just point at the letters and see if you know what they say.
Oh. Vegetarian.
Holy shit, that's it? I mean, it was funny. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I enjoyed it. Yeah. It was caught me off guard because I thought it was going to go into some kind of something to do with veganism or vegetarianism, but no, he just roasted her for not being able to speak, which is, yeah, that's good. All right, cool. I would like to see how the rest of that conversation went, though. Maybe he's got it up on his channel. Let's go see if we can find the rest of that Thomas Green comedy. Maybe it's just a clip they took from his stand-up, and maybe the rest of that is was it that one? No, is he not? Is he wearing the same? He's only got one video on his channel, so I don't think it's that one. He's not wearing a chain in that video, is he? Oh, he is wearing a chain. That might be the same. That could well be the same thing. Let's check. It's all in black and white, so no, I don't think it is. Let's just do a quick little search for vegan, see if there's any mention of vegan. Oh, there is. Oh, he's got some jokes about vegans. Okay, then let's have a look. That's that we accidentally came across some new vegan comedy content. All right, great. Again, we've already voted. A lot of you thought this was going to be funny. Some of you thought this was going to be hack. let's have a see if we found ourselves some actually funny vegan comedy.
Crocodiles, sharks, vegans, they're all in there. Them joking, vegans can't swim. Right. Do you have any vegans in tonight? No. You can't laugh yet, because what we need to do is give them a couple of minutes to work the energy up to respond.
Hack. Oh my God. I literally, did I not, about whatever, 5 minutes ago, basically tell that joke? Did I not? I'm not a professional comedian. I don't have a special on YouTube. And I told that joke. Come on, Thomas Green. I'm going to give him a chance to see if this gets any better, but I'm not holding my breath.
There's probably one back there who's like,
It's so hack.
me.
But you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Like, do you know why they do it? Listen, that's why they do it, right? Because it's I learned about this from listening to Ricky Gervais, actually, and watching a lot of his stuff, listening to his podcasts, and he talks about this common denominator comedy. Basically, what it is there are certain comedy that you can do that requires literally nothing from you as a comedian. So you don't need to be good, you don't need to be talented, you don't need to be a good writer, you don't need to be particularly intelligent. You just need to be able to say the most basic, simplistic things that the majority of people will want to kind of agree with and pile on, right? It's similar to when if a guy goes up on stage and he's got an audience that is mostly middle-aged to older men, he knows as long as he makes a joke about women drivers, he's going to get the room will explode with laughter. Even though the jokes about women being bad at driving have been done for like 50, 60 years or something, right? There's nothing more to be said about that joke topic, right? But they'll keep doing it because they know it's the common denominator. The most people in the room are going to laugh, and that's all that matters. It's not about being like a good comedian or actually writing good stuff. It's just about making the most people laugh. That's what this common denominator comedy is, basically. And that's what he's chosen to do here. In my opinion, this kind of comedy just completely undermines you as an artist, because it's just so lame. Like, what are you? Are you an artist, or are you a clown? You know, because there's a big difference. A clown just jumps around and makes funny noises and squeezes their nose and everyone laughs, right? But an artist actually has a craft and actually crafts out their work and spends time on it and makes, there's a big difference between the two. And I'm sure some clowns do that as well, don't get me wrong, but he's not that type of clown, is he? He's actually just a full-on common denominator clown here.
Quick, get the quinoa. I'm actually vegetarian myself. I'm not vegan because I'm not a cunt. My best mate is vegan and he hates the fact that I'm vegetarian. I didn't know this was a thing. Apparently, we haven't fully committed to the cause. He goes, mate, you haven't given up some stuff. I'm like, what haven't I given up? He goes, you haven't given up honey. I didn't know this. Apparently, it's bad to have honey. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Bees help the planet. He goes, yeah, but it's animal cruelty to take honey from bees. I was like, why is that? He goes, they smoke them out. I was like, oh, fuck, does it kill them? Like, does it kill them? Is it an ethical thing? Does it kill them? No. It puts them to sleep. Like, that sounds pretty good. Like, bees work harder than anyone. Give them a fucking smoko. He goes, no, while they're asleep, right, they take the honey and then the bees wake up and it's gone. I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, bees don't wake up the next day like, hey, oh, fuck, not again! We've been robbed, Stephen! That's the third time this week, bro. Don't tell the Queen. She's got enough on her plate. Her son is a paedophile.
Jeez. I guess there's comedy out there for everyone, huh? Bees are killed though. By the way, at the end of every every winter, basically, they burn them all, they kill them all because it's cheaper to just kill them all and buy new bees when the weather gets better again versus keeping those bees alive all winter. So they'll just kill them all. So they are killing the bees, yeah. And there's a great video about that. Someone did say in the comments, actually, there's a great video about the honey industry that I recommend to go watch. We won't watch it now, but if you are looking for an answer, like a very comprehensive answer about, you know, whether to eat honey or not, if you're wondering if you want to eat honey or not, that's the top video there to watch. Why don't vegans eat honey? And you can make your own decision after that. But you're probably not going to want to, because once you know the truth about all of this, I mean, it shows you right there. The queen bee has her wings clipped off, like they pull her wings off so she can't escape anywhere. They inject the queen bee with semen, which is absolutely wild. And of course, like I already told you, they burn them all and kill them all at the end of every honey producing season when the winter comes around. So all reasons. In general, I mean, is honey the hill that anyone would die on anyway? I mean, I understand why people want to argue in favor of eating meat and drinking and eating dairy products and egg products, because they say, hey, look, you know, it's protein and there's all these vitamins and these minerals and all this nutrition. And so, you know, I'm worried about not eating those things. I get that, because people eat those things every day, and that's a conversation we get into very often, right? But when it comes to honey, it's like, come on. I mean, you want to talk about honey? Really? Is this... Are you consuming honey every single day, multiple times a day, to make sure you hit your sugar target? I mean, no, there are many other ways that you can get the, you know, sweetness of honey, and you know, it's a weird hill to die on, for sure.
You go to Australia, everything will get you. So what you're going to do is honestly going to save your life. What you have to do in Australia, all times, is bring someone with you and make sure that person...
So I think he's just like switch topic now, but I'll see if he covers veganism again. But so far, I'm not impressed. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't the worst I've seen. It did have some... It got a little better. The pedophile joke was pretty, I don't know, it was kind of funny, I suppose. Wordplay, I mean, why not? Do puns, you know. There's something for everyone, you know. But definitely not my cup of tea based on that little segment. Definitely more hack than not hack. And that's what Nikki Glaser was getting at back over on the other video we were watching. And she's saying a lot of people, comedians, they do these hack jokes. They do these really basic, really, really easy to predict jokes about vegans, and it's a bit lame, isn't it? You know, there is one more video where Nikki Glaser talks about veganism. This one's here. Let's have a see. And this one was with on another podcast, and I've not seen any of these, by the way. Now we're getting into the realm of I don't even know what she's going to say. So let's have a see what she says. Hold up, I'm just going to try and find the part where they start talking about it. Oh, this is a really big segment she gets into here, apparently. I'm just reading the transcript so I can get to the point where it's that we're interested in, you know. Bear with me for one minute. Guys, are you having a good time so far? Are we learning things? Are we enjoying each other's company in the chat? I see a lot of people getting involved in the chat, which is nice. If you got questions for me or things that you want me to cover, as I've said, you just got to, I didn't say earlier on, but yeah, use the Streamlabs, use the donation link in the pinned comment there. That's the best way to get it to me. I just saw that number 5 tipped again. Thank you, number 5. Hey, y'all, check out my weekly vegan podcast, VGT Live. Just interviewed the vegan doctor, PETA Rogers, MD. Would love to have you on sometime, David. Jeffrey Phillips. Oh, hey, Jeffrey Phillips. How's it going, man? Yeah, I'd come on your podcast, dude. Definitely. We'll set that up. Drop me an email or a DM on Instagram. We'll set it up. Looks like you guys are having a good one. Good to see. Right, let's have a bloody look. Where is the vegan conversation starting? All right. Here we go. Let's have a look.
All your work, this podcast, everything's gone. It goes with you to the next place.
Okay.
but you get to leave behind 3 things you know to be
three
true.
things.
3 lessons you've learned in your life, 3 morals, 3 somethings that you would then share with the world. What would you say are your 3 truths?
Number 1, I would say that animals have feelings, and especially mammals, pigs and chickens and goats and cows and ducks have all the same feelings and sadness and terror. They feel all those things that your little dog feels. The dog that you love so much that you never want to feel any. I was holding my dog yesterday. My parents are in town, and I gave my dog to my parents because I couldn't have them in New York. But I got to hold her yesterday, and I was just like, I just want to. I don't want her to feel any anxiety ever. And then I was thinking about, she was shaking because she was cold, and I was like thinking about all the animals right now that have been born into these terrible lives where they're just born to die, and they spend their whole lives terrified and shaking. And I just wish humans had more empathy for animals. Just because we're more intelligent does not mean that I wish people could understand it and have this, and everyone would make a move towards veganism. So that's what I'd wish people could really understand. Is
vegan?
like, yeah, I'm full vegan, and like it's hard and it sucks, and I don't get to have things I love. But you don't get to do everything you want to do because sometimes it's not right. And what we're doing to animals is not right. And so that's one thing I would leave behind.
So I'll just comment, and she mentions there it's hard and it sucks, and you don't get to have the things that you want. And to a large extent, when people first go vegan, when people first at least start changing their diets, a lot of people do find it hard. And this is true because you ate a certain way for all of your life. You got all your favorite foods and all the things you love, and it is hard to move away from them. And also, it's hard socially. People judge you. People are mean. They treat you differently, not because you've done something wrong, but because you did something right. People will be mean to you and treat you badly because you did something good, and it makes them feel bad. And so it can be a tough life, and it can be a lonely life. But the alternative is doing all those horrible things to animals that she was just mentioning, these animals that feel and love and want to live a life of without suffering and without being turned into a product, in the same way your dog or your cat would also want the life without that, So the alternative is to do that. And the thing is, there is a way we can change society, and we are changing society, right? Things are changing. Not necessarily vegans, I mean, but people who are working to make the world a better place for animals, including vegans, including people who do work in other places. They're changing society for the better. Things are going better. Bullfighting just got banned over in Colombia. They banned fur farming, the minks and other animals for fur in Romania. They're bringing in new laws and different things in different states of America to stop people from killing wildlife, to stop people from poisoning wildlife. So, lots of things are changing all around the world, and it's getting better for animals in a lot of ways. And so, even as a vegan now in a world that largely doesn't particularly like vegans, but that's not going to be a particularly, for a lot of people, not a very nice existence, but it is changing. And it's, trust me, now compared to 10 years ago, it's so much better than it already was. I mean, 10 years ago, people would have thought you were a complete and utter freak and a weirdo. Nowadays, they don't think you're a complete, utter freak or weirdo. You make them feel bad. It's a totally different thing. So that's already a big jump in progress, and it's okay that they feel bad, and it's probably a good thing they feel bad, because at the end of the day, they should, and it should be something that makes you feel bad. If they didn't feel bad about not being vegan, then they'd be maybe, I don't know, psychopathic. I mean, at the end of the day, if you see what happens to animals and you feel nothing, if you see pigs in gas chambers and feel nothing, if you see animals have their throats slit and feel nothing, I'd be worried about you. So it's kind of a good thing that you become vegan and people say, they get kind of silly and they get annoyed at you because you make them feel bad. I mean, it's a positive thing. It means they care. So my point here being that what Nikki Glaser is saying here about how being vegan sucks, and I agree with her, it can, but it's in a good way. And in regards to you know, away from the social stuff in regards to like, oh, you can't eat what you want and that kind of thing. And yeah, some people will find that does suck, and it's a bit of a struggle finding the new foods that you like and relearning how to eat and relearning what kind of recipes are good and all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't have to suck. You can make it an experience that's fun. You can say, instead of saying, oh, I can't have that anymore, or, oh no, I have to learn all these things, you could turn it into now I'm going to discover new things. It's exciting. I'm going to find new foods, and there's a whole new world opened up to me, and I'm going to discover all these different new recipes, and it's going to be really exciting, and I'm going to learn from other vegans who've been doing it for a lot longer. I'm going to watch all these YouTube videos and try out this new way of cooking and get all these new skills, and it's going to be awesome. So it doesn't need to suck. It can be different, you know? But you still need to prepare for it, right? Mentally prepare for it, prepare for how society, your friends and family might not take too kindly to it. So get ready for that. And make sure you prepare yourself food-wise. Go to the supermarkets, go to the stores, get everything you need so you can make the change nice and smooth, and you can start finding these new foods that you really love and you really enjoy. Because there'll be a lot of them. You're going to find loads of animal-free food that you absolutely love. You just got to get out there and start trying it and start finding it.
Another thing I would leave behind is I think women do things, and men too. You don't have to do anything sexual you don't want to do. It is totally okay to make someone feel awkward about what they have just suggested you do.
Okay, well that jumped into a whole separate topic. Good advice, but I think we'll we'll move on from that. It's not we don't cover these types of things on the channel, not yet anyway. Maybe probably never, to be totally honest with you. All right, cool. So that was I'll keep the clip up there. I'll keep her up to talk about her, because that's Nikki Glaser. That's everything I could find on Nikki Glaser and veganism. And I'm impressed, honestly. I had no idea that she was a vegan before I found out, before I found all this stuff. I don't even know where I saw it. I think I saw someone posted some news story about it, something like that. I don't know. But when I started watching the first video we reacted to, I was like, oh my God, she's solid. She's saying some amazing things about animals. She's quite inspirational. She's very direct. This is really cool. And then I thought, okay, let's set this up today and I'll react live. And these videos that we were just watching, I haven't seen these videos before. I saw tiny clips of them. I had no idea what she was going to say, right? And in the end, yeah, she said really solid stuff, and really cool that she speaks so openly and so directly in defense of animals, defending animals, and speaking and talking about all the amazing things about them and the things that they deserve basic respect from us, and why they deserve basic respect from us. I appreciated her going over that, and I think, I think it's awesome. I think as a famous comedian, a celebrity, to be able to speak so directly like that and just not really give a crap about the kind of repercussions and people judging, or people, maybe she wouldn't get gigs, maybe she wouldn't get booked for saying certain things about veganism, things like that. There's a lot of risk involved in it. So I'm really impressed with her speaking up like that, despite all of that. I think it's really cool. So Nikki Glaser, awesome. Well, the thumbnail of this video was, is she right? The answer is yes, she is right. Absolutely right. It's always a pleasure to cover this kind of thing, talking about somebody, and to be able to say, that's awesome, amazing. You don't get to do it very often as a vegan, because so many people say so many horrible things about vegans. It's nice to see somebody in the public eye with millions of followers saying incredible things about animals and talking about why she's a vegan. I love that. Thank you, Nikki Glaser. Amazing. But don't go anywhere yet, because we've got more to come. We've got more things that we're going to check out today. As I told you, as I promised you earlier, we're going to check out some more things. And actually, you know what? For those who are just joining and maybe don't quite know the scale of what we're talking about when we talk about what happens to animals, and we talk about the situation they face in the world, I found this really interesting video that I'd like to play for you, for everybody to take a look at, and especially those people who are new to this idea of making change for animals and making positive change for animals, making the world a better place for animals. This is how many animals we eat in a year, and it's a visual representation of it. So look at this. Turtles, I didn't know the humans ate 4,000 turtles a year. 3 million camels. 5 million horses. A lot of people love horses, and they don't realize how many people eat them. Horse meat is quite popular in a lot of countries. It's crazy. Dogs, still 25 million. Can you believe that? Dogs, you wouldn't imagine it, would you? 25 million dogs. 60 million pigeons. 70 million guinea pigs. 100 million sharks. This is even blowing my mind. I thought I knew about all of these. I mean, I know what I know the most about is the most commonly farmed animals that people eat all over the world. I didn't know about how many guinea pigs and sharks, and wow, it's phenomenal, isn't it? It's absolutely, we truly just decimate animals, don't we? Like we really go out there as humans and try to just kill and eat practically every other animal out there. You got 300 million cows, 480 million goats, 500 million lambs, 500 million lambs. That's just wild. Now with goats and with cows, most goats and cows that are killed and eaten are also babies, by the way. I mean, they're all very young. None of them are adults. So like, oh, okay, the dairy cows will be a little older, but none of them are anywhere near their actual the age they can get to and mature to, like 20 years old, 24 years old. None of them are that old. But with lambs, they are literally months old. They're actual babies. That's the point of the word lamb and not sheep. Lamb denotes that this is an infant sheep. 500 million of them. Mind-blowing. And there you go. See, this is what I mean between the lambs and the sheep. So between lambs and sheep, it's over 1 billion. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know that. I knew we were killing them. I knew they were used for the skin and the wool. I knew they were killed for that, but I didn't consider that actually people were eating them also. And then that's a hell of a lot. That's absolutely wild. Turkeys, 656 million. The salmon number, I think, is estimate. I think it's probably a lot higher than that for salmon because they're killed. It's by weight. And so to estimate how many there are is really difficult. Crabs, 880 million, 900 million tunas. It's wild. 1.2 billion rabbits. Again, that's another animal that most people consider to be pets. Like a lot of people have rabbits as pets and they really love them deeply, but 1.2 billion of them are eaten every year, killed and eaten. It's crazy. 1.5 billion pigs. This is where we get to the farmed animals. 2 billion octopus. They just banned the octopus farms over in, where was it in the States? I think, what state? Was it California, maybe? I think California just banned octopus farms, which is obviously very good that they banned octopus farms. Now they just need to go ahead and ban all the other farms. Barracudas. 2 billion people are eating barracuda. This can't be. I mean, this is a legit website. This is a legit channel. That's wild. Barracuda. $2 billion geese. Clams as well, yeah. I knew they were eating a lot of clams and mussels. And ducks, 2.9 billion ducks. 3 billion shrimp. These numbers are just phenomenal. How do you even quantify a billion? How do you even think of what a billion looks like, you know? Absolutely insane. 14 billion sardines. I don't think this is going to be chickens, yeah. 70 billion chickens. You know, when you see these numbers, you've got to... I mean, even if you're not vegan, you've got to admit that is just... Our population, human population, is just under 8 billion. That's just insane, is it not? You've got to admit. I think most people that aren't vegan look at this and just find this crazy. Yeah, people commenting here about the dogs. Crazy to think that people eat so many different animals every year. Dogs again, talking about scary how chickens are eaten in the world. I eat them almost every day. Someone's saying, so these people are not vegans, you know, and even they're saying that this is shocking. And it is shocking. Those numbers are absolutely shocking. And this is partly what we're getting at. I mean, what we've discussed today and what Nikki Glaser was going into as well, and she's right. And she was talking about how animals, even though we pretend they don't have any feelings and they have nothing and they're just things, they're just kind of, I don't know, biological robots. A lot of people seem to think they don't feel anything. They don't feel pain. They don't have personalities. They're, apart from dogs, apart from cats, obviously, guinea pigs, and apart from if you have a pet pig, and then the pet pig obviously is an individual personality. But as long as they're not pets, they're not real animals. They don't have any feelings or emotions. This is what most people think, but that's not true. They all these animals have, even the fish, by the way, they're even proving now that fish have complex emotional lives, which is really hard for us to imagine because we don't live in the sea, right? But they do. But the ones that we can see, the ones that we understand, the ones that are on land like us and we can kind of watch them, like chickens, like cows, like pigs, like the dogs, that 25 million dogs killed, but the ones that most people eat, chickens, cows, pigs, they are complex, emotional animals. They have feelings, they have personalities, the things they like, they have things they don't like. They defend their family and friends. There are videos online of people trying to kill a pig, and the friends of this pig are trying to defend that pig from the guy with the knife. They understand what's going on sometimes, and because they've learned, and they will defend their friends. And this is these are these other animals that we seem to all believe they're stupid and they don't have any feelings or anything. This is not true at all. And then when you look at these numbers, you start to ask yourself, start to realize that 70 billion, those chickens are 70 billion individuals. That's 70 billion personalities. Same with the pigs, same with the cows. These are millions and millions of individuals, of personalities that have complex emotional lives that have been brought here and bred by forcing them to have babies, forcing them to breed, and then taking them while they're here, putting them in captivity, so keeping them in locked away, and then using them for whatever they want to use them for, whether it be eggs or milk or whatever it is, and then killing them so then they can eat the bodies as well. And these were all individuals. It's wild, isn't it? It's disgusting. It's a disgrace, and it's why so many people are choosing for the animal-free options. It's why so many people are changing to try and make the world a better place for animals. And this is what it's all about. This is why. Thank you, not me, who tipped. Hey, do you know the vegan zombie? He reminds me of someone, but I can't think who. Maybe you can figure out. His videos are pretty good. Yeah, thank you for the tip. I do know vegan zombie. I've not seen much of his videos recently. I didn't know he was still making videos. I thought he stopped, but yeah, I don't know who he reminds me of though. Can't help you with that. Okay, so earlier on we had a request to take a look at someone who just donated like millions of dollars to save pigs. Pig sanctuaries, pig shelters. So I'm interested in that. So I'm going to go find that video and we'll take a look at it from JP and Julia. Thank you for the donation, JP and Julia, and the suggestion. And we'll take a look. Those numbers are still blowing my mind. I can't. It's absolutely wild, isn't it, when you put it on screen like that and really see it represented graphically like this. Okay, you've linked me a very big podcast, so I'm gonna have to go through it and see if I can find the spot you're talking about. All right, I think it's probably from around here. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this video then from this relevant part that you wanted me to check out.
At least, and relevant to this pod. The day before the tournament started, I saw some tweet by a guy called Lewis Bollard that was talking about some latest horrific thing with the way pigs are treated on US factory farms. And it got me all bummed out, and I couldn't get it out of my head. And then the morning of the day one of this big tournament in Bahamas, I was in the shower and was like, screw it. Whatever I end up cashing in this tournament, I'll donate 20% to whatever the most effective charities are at improving the welfare of animals on factory farms. And now I'm in a situation where I have to donate $560,000. And it's
great.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of wild that there's only been one other occasion where we randomly pre-pledged a very significant amount to charity, which was before the World Series of Poker Tag Team event, where we both were playing it together, and we decided to pledge 50% of whatever we cashed in that. And
yeah, because you could get up to, you were allowed to have teams up to 4 people, and we were like, well, we'll just play the 2.
So is this that's pretty cool, huh? That she committed to it before finding out how much it would be. And then the reason was, the director of Open Philanthropy in his tweet about it, which is awesome. Very cool. It just goes to show you guys. I mean, this is the tweet she's talking about from Lewis Bollard. This week, nearly 1,000 pigs burned alive in a North Carolina facility farm that had no sprinklers. Also this week, the pork industry appealed a new rule that requires them to install sprinklers in their barns. They said it's too expensive. Pure evil. That is pure evil. How could they see something like this happen, like 1,000 pigs burned alive, and then not demand that they install sprinklers in the farm? Like they knock that down as if that's a silly idea. That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, obviously these pigs shouldn't be there in the first place, but if they are going to be there, you should make some provisions so that they don't get burned alive if there's a fire in the place. I mean, surely, if you have a place of work where 1,000 people work, you need to have sprinklers there, right? Because if there's a fire, everyone will burn alive. Why does the same not apply to if you're going to cram thousands of animals into a barn? You should have provisions. There should be something there to stop that from happening to them as well. Being burned alive is absolutely disgraceful. But it just goes to show you the level of care that these farmers have for the animals. They'll tell you all day that I love my animals, I treat my animals well, I make sure that, but also then they'll all vote against something that means that they have to put sprinklers in case there's a fire. Because they love them so much. They love them so much and they care about them so much, but not enough that they need to spend some money on making sure they don't get burned alive if there's a fire. Because that's too much love. That would be loving them too much. You don't want to go overboard with the love that you have for your animals. You need to make sure that, you save money too, right? Because you've got to make money from them, because that's what true love is, guys. True love is cramming thousands of animals into a barn and squeezing every single last penny of profit out of them. That's love. That's how you love your animals. That's what farmers are all about, right? Then congrats to Lewis Bollard for getting that out there. That tweet looks like it went viral, and then look at that. It's ended up raising over $500,000 from somebody who happened to find the tweet. And this person, she's not even not a vegan. She's not any kind of activist or anything like that. She just came across the tweet, and then there you go. She pledged some money or a percentage of her winnings, and then it ended up being $500,000. Incredible. It's great that she's following through with it as well. I mean, obviously she's talking about it publicly, so she absolutely is going to follow through with it. Thanks for putting that on my radar, JP and Julia. Very interesting. And yeah, what was I saying? It just goes to show that was it. The message is that always post. Get this stuff out there, because you never know who's looking, and you never know if somebody like her is going to come along and say, hey, here's $500,000 to get something done about this. You never know, right? And well, you do know, if you don't do any post, if you don't do anything, if you post nothing and say nothing and don't talk about anything online, guaranteed nobody will ever help you make the world a better place for animals. If you talk about things online, if you put the messages out there, you put the work out there, then obviously there's a chance. If you don't do that, there is zero chance. Zero chance of making any difference for animals if you sit on your hands and do nothing. I promise you guys. So make sure you're doing whatever you can, whether it's sharing my videos, sharing my posts, sharing Joey Carbstrong's, sharing Ed's, Cliff Grant, Vegan Gaze, Vegan, FTA is another great channel. Plant-Based News has a lot of good stuff. You've got various different activists doing amazing stuff all over the place. You know, whoever you most align with, share, or make your own videos and make your own stuff. Make sure you're doing something, please, because you just never know. You never know, right? Spin the roulette, hey? Like, let's see what happens. So I saw there was a news story actually by Fox 5 News in San Diego, where they did a segment on Veganuary. I thought, okay, then I've not seen it yet. I thought we could watch it together and see what they're saying about Veganuary, because Veganuary is in full swing right now. Do you guys know what Veganuary is? For those who maybe are new to the vegan world, the animal-free world, Veganuary is every January. It's an organization that challenges people to eat animal-free food only for the month of January, to learn about animal-free food, learn about why people eat animal-free diets, learn about why people are vegan in the month of January. It's kind of like a New Year resolution challenge for the world. And the past couple of years they've had, I think last year, I think it was something like 1.2 million people. The year before that, 700,000. The year before that, like 500,000. It's been increasing every year. It's very cool. And so Fox 5 San Diego also did a segment here about Veganuary. And I'm curious to see what happened.
Okay, whether you're going to take part in Veganuary, it's a new word that I'm learning today, or you're just in search of really good plant-based food options, you may want to check out North Park Vegan Market. Michelle May is here with a few of her friends here today to show us what you're going to find there. Good morning. Happy New Year.
Thanks, you too.
Veganuary, how is it that I'm just hearing this term? Is this a thing that I don't know about?
It's officially a thing, yes. So every January, we get together and encourage people to try going vegan, even if it's just for a month or a few weeks or even a day.
Okay, so there's a market that has all of this stuff in it. Tell me about it.
So the North Park Vegan Market is in North Park at the Mini Park every second Saturday of the month.
But
this month we have a very special Veganuary celebration. In addition to all the amazing vendors, some of which we have here, we'll also have a really cool presentation in the Mini Park with demos, tons of food samples, all the resources someone needs to go vegan.
I love it. You brought some friends.
Yes.
There's so much good vegan food, especially if you find like the really good, like with vegan, the plant-based, and the stuff that like the vegetables.
Well, we have found them all for you. If you come to North Park Vegan Market, you'll see all the vegan goodies.
Yes. Let's meet some of your friends. These will be some of the vendors over there too.
Yes.
Karima Salmi, she's the owner of Botanica Artisan Goods. Good morning and happy.
Good morning. How are you?
I mean, I'm happy now that I'm here. What is this?
So I am a vegan cheese vendor. I have 3 offerings. I have a cashew blue. I have a mixed seed and nut chev. This one's herbed with some raisins. And I have a nice sunflower seed camembert. And I've dressed them up with some bacon wrapped dates. I've done a little strawberry compote mixture here.
You make this?
I do. I make this.
What are they made of?
So they're mixed seed and nut, and they're inoculated with some European cultures. So they're aged. They're like more of a traditional upscale style cheese that you could have with a wine and cheese night or for a wedding or celebration.
I'm curious to know what it tastes like.
Yeah, try it.
Can I give you a sample?
I want to see if she likes it.
Of course you could give me a sample. Who would ever deny vegan cheese to try it? Has anybody said no?
No, not as of yet. Okay. So let me go ahead and give you a sample.
I'll try it. I'm curious.
And this one is less of a traditional blue in that it's not as pungent as like a gorgonzola, but it still has a little bit of kick.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like the okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's like creamy, it's very mild, but it still has a nice little funk to it. And that one's called the Mermaid. It's made with Mediterranean sea salt.
I'm gonna put my cracker here. No, I want it back.
Okay, you can set it there.
I want to finish it. I'm leaving it right there.
Okay.
It's that good. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back over here on it.
This is a pretty positive segment considering it's it's like a mainstream news outlet. They're not always positive about these things. They seem pretty, it's pretty nice. It's like a nice little promotion.
Jackson, owner of We Be Grubbin.
We do be grubbing, yes.
I see some delicious looking, I can imagine something creamy is in that.
Yes.
What is it, arancini
so
bowl?
our first offering here, we have our collard green rolls.
Okay.
So that's stuffed with black rice, onion,
Yeah,
garlic.
that looks boring.
And then
Go
we
to
have
the
a
other thing.
spiced sweet potato throughout.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
Those do not look good. I'm sorry. When you see like a roll wrapped with rice and potato inside it like that, I don't know, guys. I mean, I know some people like it. For me, that stuff is that's kind of the worst of plant-based food. That's the worst of animal-free food is when, and no offense to this chef, I'm sure that she's trying it. I don't know. I'm sure she likes it in some way or another. But yeah, I don't know. You're just going to wrap rice in some kind of green, look at that, green wrap with some sweet potato in it. I would never want somebody who's learning, like, oh, what's exciting about vegan food? Show me some exciting vegan food. I would never show them that. I wouldn't, because they'd be like, okay, this is exactly what I thought vegan food would be like. It's a leaf with some rice and potato in it. I'm more interested in that thing in the top left there. You see that? Those arancini balls look absolutely amazing. That's what I want to know. I want to know what that is.
These are our mac and cheese balls.
Mac and cheese balls. There you go.
Yeah, crunchy.
Now, that's what I would give someone who wants to know what it's all about. I mean, like, there you go. Stuff your face with a mac and cheese ball.
On the outside, we have our remoulade sauce drizzled there, and then you'll find in the middle a nice creamy vegan mac and cheese.
And I'm told that what you are
Sounds
about
amazing.
to show us is like the best thing ever.
Yeah, so this is definitely one of our most popular items. This is the Po Girl. Very similar to a Po Boy, but she's vegan, she's classy, she's that girl.
Okay.
I don't know what either a po boy or a po girl is. Is that an American thing? Does anyone know what that is?
So it
Are you
starts
vegan?
off. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So it starts off.
Did she just ask if she's vegan? Wait a minute.
Let's see you do it.
So it
Are you
starts
vegan?
off. Yes, absolutely.
That's so funny. I mean, yeah, it would be a controversial kind of bit of news if the vegan food stall owner wasn't a vegan. Are you a vegan? No, I'm just making vegan food to make some money. That would be headline news.
So it starts off with, I have a toasted French roll. These are locally made, Paris Bakery, shout out to them in City Heights. And then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of our cabbage slaw that is dressed with our garlic chive dressing. And then we have
Not big on cabbage slaws, not for me.
fried oyster mushrooms.
Okay, that
so
looks
these
better,
are
though.
southern fried oyster mushrooms. A lot of people compare these to like chicken because they are super crunchy. They're going to give you that same texture.
I can bite?
All of that. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So this is for the people that need that meaty bite.
Yeah.
You're not gonna miss it if you go with the Po Girl.
Okay. So you're gonna put that on top?
Yeah, we're gonna load the Po Girl up with literally as many mushrooms as it can handle.
That started looking better
how
now.
you close it and eat it is gonna definitely be up to you.
Great. So we'll do that off camera.
Yes.
Imagine if she tried to eat that on camera. That'd be entertaining.
Load it on up.
That looks
load it
decent
on
though.
up.
And that's it.
And then the last
I'm gonna
thing-
close that. You can't close that.
More sauce.
This is our remoulade sauce. So the remoulade is actually, we make this completely from scratch.
Yep.
Lots of onion, garlic, cayenne pepper.
Load that up.
Yes.
Hold my mushroom here and the sandwich and one of those balls, okay?
You got it.
I'll be back. I'm not done with all you.
I want to see. I mean, the best part of that was going to be seeing how she's going to close it, and now they're moving on. Come on, I've got to see that. If they don't go back to that to show the closing of that sandwich, I'm going to be devastated.
Wait, why didn't you bring me a tray?
Come on.
That's what I need.
We'll do that
and
next
then end it with something sweet. Matthew
right.
Arnold, owner of the Brulee Bar.
Yes.
Is this creme brulee?
It's creme brulee. So our concept was you go to a fancy restaurant and you get creme brulee. It's always vanilla bean.
Yes.
So we have over 100 different flavors of vegan and non-vegan creme brulees. I brought to you the balsamic strawberry, pistachio rose, and cafe cubano, espresso, and brown sugar.
So what do you?
Did he say what I think he just said? I'm just gonna go back for a second. Hold up. Did he just say what I think he just said?
Brulee. So our concept was you go to a fancy restaurant and you get creme brulee. It's always vanilla bean.
Yes.
So we have over 100 different flavors of vegan and non-vegan creme brulees.
Why would he specify that? Oh my goodness. Dude, this is a new segment about Veganuary, and you're at a vegan market. You know, just like everyone in the world can eat creme brulee. Everyone in the world can and does eat creme brulee, right? Everyone. What's special about what you're offering today is that you make a vegan creme brulee so that the vegans who enjoy creme brulee can have it without all of the horrors of animal agriculture in it, right? They can get it without the horrors of the dairy industry. They can get it without all of the nasty, disgusting, evil things that people do to cows, without people taking babies away from cows, without people shoving their arms in cows, without people killing all the cows as soon as they are no longer profitable for milk. You've made a creme brulee that involves none of that. That's what makes you special. Why would you tag on to that here's the thing that makes us special? Oh, and by the way, we also offer the thing that everybody else in the world offers. It's like, come on, bro. Come on, man.
I brought to you the balsamic strawberry, pistachio rose, and cafe cubano, espresso, and brown sugar.
So what do you make it with? Because is it like
So a plant-based heavy whipping cream,
Wow.
and then a vegan egg substitute.
Mike, which one's your favorite?
Well, it's morning time, so I need some coffee in me, so
Yeah.
I usually go with something more coffee forward, like the cafe cubano. Do you want me to torch it for you?
You're gonna torch it?
Let's do it right now.
Is that what that
Let's
thing
set
is for?
this
You're
thing
about
on
to start
fire.
Oh, okay.
And to be fair, by the way, to be clear though, I'm happy that this guy who makes creme brulees, I'm happy that he makes vegan ones. That's amazing. Thank you, dude, for making those vegan ones. It's awesome that you do that. Very special. I'm just making fun of him. I'm just throwing shade at him for that kind of tag on comment. Like that's what I was, you know what I'm saying? It's just a very, it's almost like he's apologizing for being at a vegan food fair. That's what it feels like. It's like, own it, bro. You're here at a vegan food fair. You're giving people vegan products. That's what you're doing today. Stop talking about the other ones. That's for whenever else when you're at the not vegan food fair. Come on, man.
So let's be careful with that though. There's a high winds.
Don't worry.
And
Don't
we
worry.
know we're in
I'm a professional.
I know you're a professional when it comes to crowd. Clearly, if you own
I don't
a
even
business,
burn myself.
You know what you're doing. Okay.
You ready? Here
Yep.
we go.
Let's go. Whoa. Hello.
So I use a organic vegan sugar that I blend, and I prefer having it blended because it has a more even caramelization when you have finer sugar crystals.
Oh, and that's that.
And you
part-
smell that? There you go.
Oh, yes, that's good.
All right, and I have a spoon for you here.
Oh, for me to try too?
Yes, if you want to try it. Now
Look,
I'm gonna kind of fan it down
let's
because the
not-
sugar needs to harden. You
Okay.
don't want to eat molten lava sugar.
Michelle, as
And
I
there
tell
you are.
everybody again, because I'm going to let this. Ooh,
Yeah.
did you see
See?
this? Okay. As we tell everybody again, because I want everybody
Just
to
stab it in
experience
there.
this. Where are we going again for this? At what time and all that stuff?
We will be at the North Park Vegan Market at the North Park Mini Park this Saturday.
Cool. If you're in San Diego, head over to that and get yourself some nice vegan food. I mean, all the stuff they showed at the start looked amazing. Like all those tacos and stuff like that. I'd love to go there. It'd be awesome. You want to see her trying that? We'll close up. Let's see if she's trying that or not before we move on.
Click the little seat on top. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lovely to meet all of
still
you.
want to see
We're
the
gonna
sandwich,
end with the
though.
sweet bite, and I'm gonna work backwards. Into commercial break, okay? We're gonna take a short break. We'll be right back.
Okay, there you go. That's the conclusion of that one. Oy. Alrighty. Whoa, I'm sorry. What the hell did I just see? Oh my God. Anonymous donated $100. Jeez, thank you so much. That is crazy. And said, keep it up. That's wild. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That is mind blowing. How did chat did no one see that? No one said anything? Chat usually goes crazy when someone drops $100. Like I didn't see the chat say anything. That's why I didn't notice. I gotta put that back up on the screen again. That is absolutely crazy. I didn't see the donation. The donation's not popping up. Is that there it is. There. Did that not happen a minute ago? I hope it bloody did. Yeah, it's there. Oh my goodness, anonymous. I wish you weren't anonymous so I could say thank you personally to you. Damn, that's awesome. Thank you so much. It really, really means a lot because it just means a hell of a lot because of what it enables me to do and what it enables me to achieve and the work we can keep on doing for animals. So it's truly special when you send donations here. It's not like giving, doing donations and tips to other YouTubers where, I don't know, you're helping them, helping them get their new trainers or helping them get a new outfit or whatever or something like that. When you donate here, when you send tips to me or to Lifting Vegan Logic or Cliff Grant or any of the other incredible people out there doing, content, and your money is going specifically into helping that person continue to do the work they're doing online. And also other stuff that they don't post online. There's things that I do, for example, that I can't talk about online right now, but it goes to that as well, So it really does mean a lot, and I can't thank you enough for that. It's incredible, and obviously thank you to everybody also who's sending in donations throughout the stream. This is why it means a lot to me, and so thank you guys so much. Thank you, and thank you Anonymous so much. It's amazing. Wow, damn. All right. So yeah, I guess just to quickly summarize that video, that was a pretty nice. Oops, I started the video again. That was a pretty nice little segment that was on like mainstream TV, mainstream American TV. How cool is that? Very positive. Talking about vegan food, saying it tastes great. I mean, pretty cool. I'm happy to see that. This is what I was kind of getting at earlier, that the world is changing in some ways. People be more open to these things and more interested, and more open to being nice about these things, which I think is just great, right? It's great that we're seeing some progress. There was another video I saw that I thought was interesting. They covered this. This was on mainstream TV as well. Something to do with vegan and vegetarian gut health. It's only 1:46. I just wanted to have a little look.
We're back now with Dr. Darian, taking a look at a new study that suggests that vegans and vegetarians may have healthier guts than meat eaters.
Yet another thing for vegetarians and vegans to gloat about. So this new study shows that there is another benefit or additional benefits to having a vegan, a vegetarian, plant-based forward diet. It's a study from Nature, a large study, over 21,000 people, and they found that those who had more plant-based diets, vegetarians and vegans, had a healthier gut microbiome, those healthy bacteria that live in our gut, compared to those who are omnivores, people like me who eat meat and vegetables.
So what can you do if you're not ready to give up your meat, but you want a healthy gut biome?
You don't have to give up your meat. Something like this reminds me I need to eat my vegetables. I need to focus on that. Vegetables are fantastic for many reasons, but our bacteria that help us with our vitamin supplementation or development of vitamins in our gut, also our bacteria that help us keep our immune system healthy, even our nervous system. There's a gut nerve microbiome that exists. These bacteria love these types of products in terms of plant-based. So when you're looking for helping your gut microbiome, you can look to simple foods like kimchi, for example, fermented foods. You can look to melt and semi-hard cheeses like cheddar, mozzarella. And you can also look for supplements. If you're going to get a probiotic, you want to look for colony-forming units. It doesn't matter how many there are in them, but pay attention to the instructions and try to get one that is reviewed by a third party. So when
interesting how they'll say, hey, one of the ways you can improve your gut microbiome is supplements. But then on the flip side of that, many doctors, not this guy, but many doctors would say, oh, one really big problem about vegans is that, they have to supplement B12. So you'll find, I feel like this is kind of a double standard that a lot of people have, supplements are great and they're a fantastic way to fill in some of the gaps that you've got and all these different things, unless you're a vegan, and then supplements are the devil immediately, even though the vast majority of the people who aren't vegan take probably at least one supplement. It's funny how that works.
When it comes to meat, moderation is key.
Moderation is key. Keeping it as a side, I think, is the best trick here, and then increasing your plant base as much as possible.
I roll my eyes every time you say, keep it as a side. Who wants to make meat as a side?
Because that's what I say to myself. Every time I sit down, I go, meat is a side, meat is a side, trying to remind myself to eat more vegetables.
So the takeaway is eat your vegetables.
That's the simple takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, and you would be surprised, guys, honestly, at that. I know a lot of vegans. And a lot of vegans in my chat right now would be feeling frustrated with this segment. Like, oh God, this is terrible. What he said is terrible. But you got to think about what's just happened here, right? This is Good Morning America. This is millions of people are seeing this. This doctor just said, make meat a side increase your vegetables, which basically means reduce your meat consumption and increase your consumption of animal-free food, plant-based food. That, to an audience of millions, is a good thing. Very good thing. And it's not good in terms of, obviously, if we're talking about ethics, obviously, then it's not good, obviously. From the perspective of animals, he's still telling people to eat them. So, of course, from an animal's perspective, it's not good. But from the perspective of trying to encourage people to change their behaviors in a way that positively impacts the world for animals, for 3 people who aren't vegan, coming to the conclusion that people should eat less meat and more plants, I think that's it's as good a message as you're going to get on a morning TV show with people that don't have any interest or the topic isn't ethics, topic isn't animal rights or veganism. This is about as good as it's going to get. And I think it's good. I think it's good that they said that. I think it's good that this message went out. And I hope to see more doctors and people, professionals going on and saying these types of things. Because overall, these are the types of things that will encourage people to make positive changes. And then when we come along and we talk about the ethics and we talk about these poor animals and we talk about how they don't deserve this and we don't even give them the basic respect to not take their lives and not force them into captivity or force them to breed and all these horrible things we do to them, that message is easier to digest when the same morning they saw a doctor who was saying, listen, we need to move away from meat, reduce your meat consumption because you'll be healthier if you're eating plants. You can't tie those two things together. You never know. You might have somebody who's saying, hey, do you know what? All the messages I seem to be hearing, this is all making sense to me and joining the dots, and I feel pretty good. I'm going to make these changes now. That's what I hope anyway. It takes many types of messages and many types of influences to have people start to realize these things, and yeah. And if you're watching and you're not a vegan, there you go. You've already had my reasons to switch to animal-free eating, and now you've just had a doctor's reasons to switch to animal-free eating. So that's good, right? You're getting a lot of information today, and this is why I'm doing it. I want to pass this information on to you. But what about when we hear people say things like, vegans have smaller brains. Vegan's not healthy for you. It makes your brain smaller. What about when something like that happens? Because sometimes we hear these rumors and these people try to dunk on vegans and try to make out like it's unhealthy. Well, here we have Mike the Vegan, and I've been actually watching a lot of Mike the Vegan's videos here on the channel with you because he covers some stuff that is quite important. And to be totally honest with you, I feel like he covers it in a way that maybe I would take me a lot longer. It would take me a lot of effort to do. So I really appreciate that Mike the Vegan puts these things out and then we can just sit here and have a watch, right? So here he's debunking this why vegans have smaller brains claim. So let's take a look at what's going on here then.
Hey, it's Mike here, and today my response to why vegans have smaller brains and how cows can help the environment. A Dr. Anthony Chafee YouTube video, a carnivore doctor. He is actually really interviewing 3 authors to a book of the same title approximately.
They were joining me over from England who wrote a wonderful new book called Why Vegans Have Smaller Brains and How Cows are going to save the planet. I probably butchered that, but it's something around there. Vegans have smaller brains in any case is the take home I got from that.
It's really just for people sitting around for over 2 hours poo-pooing on veganism and talking about how great grazing is. But in terms of the brain claim, I consider it a gross misrepresentation of the science, almost criminal misrepresentation. We'll show that by looking at the study they cite as well as newer research from several lines of higher quality evidence showing really the opposite of their claim. And then we'll also, of course, get into those environmental claims. They make some wild ones which are just blatantly false based on the literature, as well as the claim that people who just eat cows are more ethical than vegans in terms of the animals they kill.
What we're saying actually is that a meat-based diet is more ethical and humane.
fewer animals are killed.
Lovely stuff. And since it's over 2 hours, I can't respond to every point, but let's just go. Starting with who the heck are these people? Of course, we have carnivore doctor Anthony Chafee, who I've responded in the past to. I would consider him a straight up plantophobe, despite believing that he's a peak predator like a lion. He's really become the prey of plants because he's so afraid of them and how much they're going to harm him. And he's made several bogus claims like how Brussels sprouts contain 130 different carcinogens, ignoring actual practical literature like how vegetable consumption is associated with lower cancer over and over again. And then we have the three authors. We have Anita,
So quickly about Anthony Chafee, this guy is at this point the only reason that Anthony Chafee still has anyone who listens to him or believes what he says is because he has such a big account. And wait, we'll come back. I'll just put his face up so you know who I'm talking about. This guy in the bottom, though, he's responding to Anthony Chafee. It's because he has such a big account and such a big reach, and the stuff that exposes him does not have anywhere near the same amount of reach. That's the only reason that he is still in any kind of position where people listen to him. The guy has been exposed for faking some of his medical qualifications. He pretended to be some level of medical doctor. He wasn't actually at that level. People called him out on it. People like in the field called him out saying that you are not that, and take it off your handle. And he did. There was he got into a debate with Dr. Matthew Nagra, where he got absolutely destroyed, embarrassed himself, hadn't read the studies that he was citing. And then when Matthew Nagra read the studies back to him, he was like, well, I don't know about that. And he was like, well, this is the study you sent me that you told me you had read and you were using it to prove your point, and it was wrong. So all things like that. The only reason, as I said, just to reiterate, that this guy still has all these followers and still has all of this attention is because the stuff where he absolutely fails and makes a fool of himself and has been exposed hasn't got enough views and hasn't got enough attention. And that tends to be the case with charlatans. And he is an absolute 100% charlatan. He's doing all these things to make a living. I don't believe... I mean, it could be that he thinks he's doing the right thing. It could be that he thinks he's a great guy and he's just helping the world. I am far more leaning towards that the guy is a charlatan and he knows damn well that what he's saying is nonsense. And we'll see that in today's video as well. It's a real shame that what is that saying, that by the time the truth has put its shoes on, the misinformation has already run around the world like 6,000 times or something like that. So it's like the truth is always behind when it comes to these types of things. When someone says something dumb online, it gets millions and millions of views. And by the time somebody's prepared a response to that dumb thing, the thing is so far into the future now and so established as everyone thinks the lie is the truth, that the truth is just forgotten. People aren't interested in the debunk. It's quite a frustrating situation.
Ignoring actual practical. And then we have the three authors. We have Anita, a former general practitioner who's, I guess, become obsessed with animal-based foods in recent years. We also have Allison, who worked in the livestock industry for 40 years. And then we also have David, who seems like a real piece of work in terms of his bio. I mean, he did 35 years with the fossil fuel industry. I'm not sure the timeline on that and to what degree of climate change denial that would require, or at least caring about money more. But he also describes himself as a poacher turned gamekeeper. So this is a dude who would just go out and poach wild animals and kill them. And then now I guess he's doing it all above board, which is so much better. And he talks about how he's more ethical than vegan. So that's not going to grind any gears. Anyway, let's get right into their claims about the brain study here, about how, vegan brains going to shrink.
And I said, what this study shows is that they've followed a group of middle-aged and elderly people over 5 years. They've noted what they eat. They've done blood tests to look at various markers, and they've done brain scans at the beginning and end. And what they found is that the less animal food that you have in your diet, the more your brain shrinks with age. So the vegans in this study had the most brain atrophy, the vegetarians next, and the meat eaters the least.
The degree to which this study was mischaracterized, this might be like actually a new record in terms of how poorly it was interpreted. She directly says, quote, vegans in this study had the most brain atrophy. Well, guess what? Looking to the study, there was no vegan group. There was no meat-based group. It didn't even mention the word vegan or meat or even the word diet at all. No, this was a study that looked at B12 levels and brain shrinkage over 5 years. It's from 2008. It looked at about 100 people in the UK who were elderly. And we can zoom out and use some logic. You know, this data collection started in the early 2000s. What percent of 100 elderly British people in the early 2000s would be vegan? I'll let you think about that.
And what is that then? So wait. So if that's true, then wait, I need to verify this. I can't believe that. So she made that claim that it was specifically vegans were having the smallest brains after whatever. So what is this? Vitamin B12 status and rate of brain volume loss in community dwelling elderly. I need to go and check this myself to make sure that it's legit. So while I get that up, let's get this study up. Let's have a look and see if it's true that it actually doesn't even say the word vegan once or like anything about it. Because that's crazy if that's true. How could they think they could get away with it? You know, putting that out there and making that claim. Let's see if I get the full study. All right. Because I just can't. I need to verify for myself that this is the absolute disgusting lie that it appears to be, you know? And if it's an old study, I should be able to get it easily. Because I've got my ways, guys. I've got my ways of getting full studies. You know, the studies in general, they should just be available to everybody without having to pay. You know, you shouldn't have to do what I'm doing right now to find these things. You know, going to like archives and things like that, trying to find them there rather than just like being able to access the study for free. Like science should be free for everybody, shouldn't it? Should be able to access anything at any time for free. Shouldn't have to go seeking it out. I can't seem to find it, actually. I thought it would be easy, but it's not looking like it's going to be so easy to find the full study. All right, fine. We'll just continue with the video and we'll trust that Mike the Vegan is telling the truth, which I'm sure he is, of course. Sharon, thank you so much for the tip. Happy New Year. Thank you all thank you all you... Wait, I can't read right now. Happy New Year. That's the small brain. That's what's happening. Happy New Year. Thank you for all you both do. Much love. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. That's so generous. We really appreciate it. That means a hell of a lot to us. As I was saying earlier, it's super important to us and genuinely means a lot. Thank you so much. Somebody, what are you recommending? Use Sci-Hub. I'll try Sci-Hub then, just before we move on. Back into the video, but I did try another website that I normally use, but it wasn't there. So yeah, just to verify it before we jump back in, you know. To reference, no, I don't think they've got it, unfortunately. No. Not looking like it. Oh, maybe. Oh, hey, thank you. You got it for me on Sci-Hub. Legend. Awesome. All right, let's have a look then. So the word vegan doesn't appear in here. Nope. What about plant-based? Nope. What about plant? No. What about vegetable? No. Wait. Vegetable? Wait. Diet? Okay, so the word diet appears in here at some point. But they didn't even specify. Meat? No, the word meat isn't in there. Dairy? Nope. Egg? No. Oh, egg is in that one. No, it's not. What is going on? How could these people have made that claim that the vegans were having the smaller brains from this study, but they doesn't even mention the word vegan or vegetable or anything? Animal? Nope. So how did they make the conclusion that the vegans had the worst when there is literally nothing in here that says anything about vegans or plant-based diets or meat or anything? Because I've done the searches, there's nothing. All right, so yeah, Mike the Vegan is correct. let's see where this goes, and let's see what maybe they reveal how they came to those conclusions.
There was no meat-based group. It didn't even mention the word vegan or meat or even the word diet at all. No, this was a study that looked at B12 levels and brain shrinkage over 5 years. It's from 2008. It looked at about 100 people in the UK who were elderly. And we can zoom out and use some logic. This data collection started in the early 2000s. What percent of 100 elderly British people in the early 2000s would be vegan? I'll let you think about that. And to verify, yes, this is the same 2008 study they're talking about. Chafee says he has cited it in the past, knows about it, but didn't actually correct her about the bogus diet claims.
Actually refer to that study. I'm sure the 2008.
Oh, you know it?
I do, yeah. If there's one that I can think of, it's 2008, yeah.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it relates to B12.
I would also add that people can have low B12 levels or deficiencies from a bunch of different causes, anything from malabsorption, like gastric bypass surgery, to medications that interfere with B12 metabolism, HIV or AIDS, or even alcoholism, which is associated with brain shrinkage as well in particular, and somehow is reversible according to this study, which was mind-boggling. Gotta love science. And the problem here is that they've just stretched the connection here so far, and part of that is because I think they're stuck in the past thinking that vegans have lower B12 levels, but from recent studies again and again and again and again and again now, we see that vegans have adequate B12 levels. And in the case of certain studies, like this one out of Germany, actually has statistically significantly higher B12 levels. My B12, last I took it, was higher than the average meat eater, despite my embarrassingly spotty supplementation. So yeah, between fortified foods and supplementation, vegans appear to be covered nowadays. And then I would just say, with vegans occasionally having higher B12 levels, from their logic, wouldn't that mean that meat eaters have smaller brains? You can just see how much of a...
This is it. This is wild. I saw the thing going around. I had no idea it was such a straight up lie. And what's sad is this video, it's been out for 20 hours. It has about just under 7,000 views. The original video, I'm sure that we're talking about here, let's go and see how many views all of the nonsense has. And I bet it is significantly more. And this is the problem I was getting at earlier. They get away with it over and over again. They lie, and it's just phenomenal. So where was it? Is it like a video, or is it a, what did he do? There it is, part 2, why vegans have smaller brains, part 1, 29,000 and 14,000 views. So, okay, it's not as high as I thought it would be, but the clips from it will be. I mean, if they're taking clips from it, they'll go super viral probably, and people just won't even question it. They probably won't find Mike's video, or not enough of them will, and they need to find this video. This is the video that people need to be seeing, you know?
Stretch all this is. But that's just one line of evidence. We have several more supporting that they're wrong. First of all, we have that recent Ornish randomized control trial. It took people with mild Alzheimer's and put them on a plant-based diet plus some lifestyle changes for 5 years, and they had a control group. And we could even see some improvements in that plant-based diet group by some metrics. Well, we saw things just get worse in the control group, which was, of course, eating meat. And this is really relevant because Alzheimer's is largely a brain shrinkage disease. There are various mechanisms going on, but the result is that over time, people's brains get smaller when they have Alzheimer's. And then we have another really interesting 2019 study that looked at 850 people, so 8 times the size of their 2008 study. And it looked at various food groups and brain shrinkage over about 4 years. And of all of the different food groups, meat, fish, etc., the one that was actually statistically significantly and powerfully associated with less brain shrinkage was vegetable consumption, of which carnivore dieters eat 0. So based off this much higher quality study, carnivores have the smallest brains. Oh, how about that? Uno reverse. Uno reverse. Anyway, what is the study saying? Well, they're saying that other research in the past has found similar results, and they point to the mechanism being all of these plant compounds, which are so scary to Anthony Chafee, pointing to antioxidants and anti-inflammatory modulators, specifically polyphenols, flavonoids, and anthocyanidins, which they say are potent antioxidants that have shown to ameliorate brain functional deterioration, reductions in synaptic plasticity, and neuroinflammation. Yummy. And they even looked at the particular areas of the brain, and we can see that low vegetable consumption was associated with more shrinkage in the prefrontal cortex, which is the logic and reasoning center, which explains how someone could misinterpret that study on B12 so much. Meat-based brain shrinkage. And the wildest part here is that Anita and them later admit that the title of the video was really just meant to get as much attention as possible, admitting that the study was a stretch, however, again, still directly misrepresenting it in the statement that she made in this video. So, not cool.
And this friend on the phone said, so what you're saying is that a vegetarian diet shrinks the brain? I said, I suppose so. He said, so why don't you call the book that? And I said, that's going to be offending too many people. So then I changed it to why vegans have smaller brains, because
we decided we wanted the attention.
And we want the attention.
It's the new year, and you might be looking for a science-backed way to elevate your cells.
So these people are kind of scummy, right? Kind of like scummy, kind of bad people. You put out a thing claiming something that you don't even have evidence for, and you do it because you want the attention. I mean, put it this way, I hope when I get to that age that I am not like that. I hope I'd learned from my decades of living to not be that much of a douchebag, you know? I mean, vegan or not, everyone, you got to agree with me, that is a terrible thing to do. That's something you'd imagine some 20-year-old who didn't go, I don't care about the world, I'm a 20-year-old, I'm just going to go out and do what I want. I'm going to say vegans have small brains because it gets me attention. That's the kind of thing you expect from teenagers who are just a bit silly. Not from these guys. I mean, this guy on the right must be in his 70s. You think you'd have learned a thing or two by then. Maybe they're just kind of having a desperate clamor for fame in their final years. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying not to judge, but I'm just trying to look through the reasons why 3 seniors, scientists or researchers of some sort, or whatever they claim themselves to be, would go out there and make a claim that vegans have smaller brains, quoting a study that doesn't say that and doesn't even show that in any way, just because they want some attention. Like, why would you do that at this point? Maybe they're paid off. Maybe they're getting funded to say it by some bad people who want to cause some crap. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Hey, Jeffrey, welcome. Thanks for becoming a member, bro. Love it. Right. I mean, let's continue on and see what the hell, if there's anything else to this.
We want the attention.
It's the new year, and you might be looking for a science-backed way to elevate your cells, or cell of some of those other.
Just going to skip that.
850 that the loosely plant-based people and vegans performance failed is on Mike MIC at checkout for 10% off your first subscription order. All right. And really the thesis of these authors is that meat is going to prevent brain shrinkage. Well, if we look at meat as a category, it completely failed to prevent brain shrinkage from that study of 850 people. And I would love to see more studies on mental performance in vegans versus meat eaters. We just have one small one that looked at memory and sleep. Memory, of course, is the relevant one here. And they had 5 groups, high and low meat consumption omnivore groups, as well as pescatarian, vegetarian, and vegan groups. And we can just see, looking at the memory scores, that the loosely plant-based people and vegans were just clustered up there with better memory performance, and the omnivores were down there with worse memory performance.
Cool.
So yeah, meat eaters, if
know.
you want a good memory, maybe you should be eating more plants. But will you be able to remember that I said that? All right, now let's move on to the environmental claims, and there are many, and the research does not match up with them.
All right. I'm interested in this. So I think the crux of their thing was that they're trying to make the claim that eating cows is better for the planet and eating cows is better for animals. That was 2 big claims they were making. So I really don't know a hell of a lot about the things these people have said. I just know the kind of top line stuff. I've not had a chance to dive into it. And so I'm getting this now. I'm watching this with you guys for the first time. I've never seen any of this before. And I'd love to know what they're trying to say. Let's get into it. Hey, thank you, Six. Welcome to the team. Welcome. Thank you for becoming a member along with Jeffrey. Legend. If you're wondering what that is, by the way, you can become a YouTube member of my channel, which gives you the green on your name so everybody can see you're a member. And you can sign up. There's three categories that I've put in there. And yeah, it's a really cool way to support the channel. It's a really cool way to show your support and show that you're one of the supporters in the live chat as well, which is pretty cool. It's a great way to support the work I'm doing. So if you do and you want to support in a different way than just one-off, oh my God, see there we go. Hexproof Anarchist has been a member for 33 months, which is absolutely amazing. And it looks like that's telling me that you've been a member for 33 months today, which is really cool. And this is exactly what it's all about. It's amazing. And I massively appreciate it. So you could become a YouTube member. Also, you could become a Patreon member. That's the other way you could support if you don't want to support via YouTube. You can join Patreon. With Patreon, it's a little different. You get the option to open DMs with me. You get to message me directly on Patreon, which is pretty cool, which I think is a nice feature. But if you're not interested in that, you could join up here on YouTube. That's totally up to you. Thank you for considering it. Thank you for joining. Six, thank you for the super chat. I'm new here and have to get going. I'm loving this format. Great stuff. Thank you, Six. Welcome to the team. You're very welcome to be here. Very welcome to be here. Very welcome to stay here as long as you want. And hope to see you again in a future stream. We do this every Sunday. Every Sunday, unless there's a reason I can't do it. But it's pretty much every Sunday at this point. And I've got something really cool to announce to you soon. Wow, bloody hell, 40-year-old vegan. Everyone's doing it. This is amazing. You guys are legends. Thank you. But yeah, I've got something really cool to announce to you, actually, whilst we're on the topic of streaming. We'll get back to the video in a minute. I mean, it came up naturally, so I'll quickly announce this. I'm starting a new stream every 2 weeks, I think it'll be. So, and what it's going to be, Six, you're distracting me. You're doing so many amazing things right now. I can't even talk about what I'm doing. So Six just gifted 5 memberships to people in the chat. How cool is that? So 5 of you just got a free membership thanks to Six. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. It's very generous of you. That's amazing. Thank you. And Bible Dumb Podcast also became a member. What is going on with you? Have you guys all been talking about this without me knowing and just... What's going on here? Is this really happening? I'm getting loads of notifications at the same time right now. What's going on? Oh, yeah, because you gifted the 5 members. Okay, so Heidi, Biodum Podcast, Vladstein, Julie Kelsey, and CV all just had gifted memberships. That's amazing. Legends. And let me announce this new podcast, this new live podcast, because you're going to love it, okay? So what's going to happen is, what we're doing, it's myself, it's my good friend Lawrence, who's been on the channel before, who you know. And every 2 weeks on a Wednesday, we are going to host a vegan animal rights news related podcast. It's called Animal Horizon, the Animal Horizon podcast. Live podcast. We're going to go through together the recent news that's relevant to animals. We're going to give our takes on it. We're going to break some stuff down. It's going to be really nice, really cool format, and I think you're all going to love it. For example, the one that we're going to do this coming Wednesday, our headline story is going to be about the fires over in LA. And the theme is what really caused it and what's going on over there. And I have some theories based on some data out there, some news about what could have caused those fires, or at least what has caused the situation to be as bad as it is. And it is relevant. It is related to animals. It is related to veganism in a way. So that's going to be exciting, possibly a little controversial, but I mean, it is what it is. The facts are the facts, right? That's one of the stories. We have other stories too. We're going to trial it every couple of weeks on a Wednesday. You come to get all of your animal rights news, all of your vegan and animal related news live from myself and Lawrence over about, I think, 1.5 hours we're aiming for every 2 weeks. So tune in for Animal Horizon, guys. Very exciting. I'm very excited to kick this off. It's been some months in the making, so it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, let's dive back into this and let's find out what kind of claims these guys are making about vegans and cows and the environment and ethics and all sorts.
So the subtitle of our book is How Cows Reverse Climate Change, because they actually do. They don't contribute to it. Ruminants don't contribute to it.
And this is really wild to me because they are not trying to present some crazy new method of livestock grazing. They're not like Alan Savory with his holistic management, which is really hard to follow and doesn't ever seem to live up to expectations, but at least it's new and he can make all these claims. In this case, they're just saying good old conventional grazing, etc., isn't having any negative effect on climate change and can reverse it. And they straight up say that ruminants don't contribute to climate change. Well, to the FAO and their reports, it's between 14.5% and 18% of human-driven greenhouse gas emissions. I don't know what they're thinking. You know, and there are other reports that are even higher than that, but I will let them continue here.
Even in the UN assessments of livestock emissions, they just emphasize emissions, and they don't mention that it's actually a cycle. It's a biogenic carbon cycle.
Kind of don't understand what she's trying to say here, other than just maybe that the carbon cycle exists, therefore natural sources in the carbon cycle can't cause climate change, which is obviously logically wrong. And for a ridiculous, goofy analogy, we can imagine another planet, maybe the one that the Autobots are from the Transformers, where we have cars that are living, you know, they're alive, they're natural, but they're still cars. Let's say we have 500 million of them. They have their own equilibrium in terms of their carbon cycle, and we just multiply that by 4 or 8 times, relevant numbers as you will see. Obviously, it's going to emit more and create a carbon imbalance.
As you say, we've had ruminants on this planet for 50 million years, far longer than we've been around, and in similar numbers to the numbers we have today, wild and domesticated.
Okay, so she's saying the numbers are roughly the same for natural wild ruminants before domestication versus current ruminants. And this, by every single metric, appears to be really wrong. And I normally don't rely on ChatGPT to do research, but I kind of wanted to test it with this one and see what it would cite. And they say, yeah, according to the FAO, we have about 4 billion ruminants on planet Earth today. Well, in the past, before domestication, it might have been in the 100 billions or low billions. So we're talking again between 4 and 8 times as many ruminants, emitting at least 4 to 8 times as much methane, because we are overfeeding them to create as much meat as possible, which would absolutely lead to them burping out more methane.
And we've got lots and lots of species of ruminants, lots of wild ruminants that everybody just ignores. It only seems to be domesticated livestock that cause methane and climate change.
Are we really ignoring all the wild ruminants, or is it just, again, that there are hardly any? Looking to this Our World in Data chart, we can see all of the wild mammal biomass versus
such a crazy oversight that she would make. Oh, we're just ignoring that there are wild ruminants. Like what, in comparison to the ones that are factory farmed? You think there's any comparison in the number? I mean, yeah, look at the graph that we're looking at right now. That top left there, that's all wild mammals, all of them. And then look at how much cattle is. Look how many, look at 35%. How did these 3 people ever believe what they were saying? I can't get my head around it. It's like you have to be, it's like, okay, if I'm being charitable, it's that maybe they just didn't consider these things, right? Okay, people make mistakes, but it's hard to be charitable when they've literally dedicated, months, maybe years of time to this. So then you've got to say that they are actually motivated. They've been motivated to be stupid. They've had motivation to say dumb things. And where's that motivation coming from? It could be that it's coming from that they just want to prove that the way they live is best. Maybe something like that. It could be that they got funding for it. That's the other thing. It could be that they're literally being funded to ignore the reality and push a certain agenda. I don't know what it could be. Those are the things it could be. I don't know which one it is. But wow, I mean, how'd you get it so wrong?
Domesticated mammal biomass, and subtract the whales there, which is 2 out of 4 blocks. And you can see why people are drawing attention to the domesticated ones. It's an uproar.
And the methane is produced, but it is broken down within a fairly quick time, around about 10 years, back to carbon dioxide. And that carbon dioxide is then taken out of the air again by the plants, which the animal then eats. So we've just got a cycle. There's no additional methane being added to the atmosphere.
So she goes on a rant about methane, saying that, really just lasts for 10 years and then it's gone. And for whatever reason, that means it doesn't count. But it's important to note that the global warming potential, really the power compared to CO2 for methane, is 32 times over 100 years and 86 times over 20 years. And then I would further add something that nobody seems to mention ever, and I've mentioned a bunch completely in one ear out the other, and that is the airborne fraction of CO2 being only 45%. So less than half the CO2 that is emitted makes it up into the atmosphere. The rest gets sucked up by trees, plants, algae, etc. Yet with methane, virtually all of it makes into the atmosphere, and global warming potential doesn't calculate this. So we really need to be more than doubling methane emissions when comparing them to CO2 emissions. The only part here that's accurate is that, yes, methane, when it gets into the atmosphere, burns hot, so to speak, for the first 10 years, and then it breaks down into CO2. But that is average. That is counted within the calculations, and it's still super duper high.
It's long been understood by anybody that's ever been.
This is the problem. It's if you weren't into climate science, if this wasn't something you looked into or understood particularly well, then these three people saying these things, you just, it's like, it would be kind of, this is the problem with propaganda basically. It's if you don't know better and you've no way to argue with people, you're more likely to actually think, oh, this, and especially if what they're saying supports something that you already want to do, you're very likely just to take it and say, great, that's great. So the things that I'm doing already are good, awesome. And that's exactly what these three people are doing. They are saying things that are quite hard for the average person to argue with. And the average person doesn't want to argue with it anyway, because if they just listen to it and agree, it means that they can eat animals without feeling guilty. So it's the perfect combination of things for a perfect propaganda campaign, which is why I start to ask the question, are they being funded to do it? Because it's three elderly British people that have some experience in oil and gas, the guy, for example. So he knows marketing. He knows how to manipulate. They're very good at that. They're experts at that. I don't know the other two people's background, but whatever. And when they're speaking with that really British accent, like, oh, we've been around for a while, you know, we're old, we're British, we're researchers. It just seems so convincing. And they've got this title, vegans have smaller brains and cows are great for the planet. And it's just a package that the average person is going to come across this package and just be like, oh, these three wholesome people, look at them smiling and just a little older, just wearing kind of normal people clothes. It's not like sciencey stuff or anything like that. Not like, they don't look very professional. They just seem like your grandma, your granddad, you know, nice people just trying to do something for the world. And they're letting us know with their lovely British accents that vegans have smaller brains and eating cows is great. And 9 out of 10 people are going to go, okay, cool, I trust them. Yeah, look, how could you not trust them? Look at them. They're so nice. And they're saying things that I like to hear. So I'm going to believe everything they say. You know what I'm saying? It's wild. And then Mike's video responding to them. And here's another thing. The stuff they're saying is pretty digestible. It's pretty easy to hear. It's pretty easy to listen to. Mike's video, on the other hand, the guy we're watching here, I've got to say it's not that easy to hear because debunking lies is more boring than telling lies. Because when you're telling a lie, you can make it real simple and real easy to understand because it's a lie. Because it's a lie, it's a summarization of complex stuff in a way that misrepresents it. It's a lie and it's easy to tell lies. It is much, much harder to tell an interesting, exciting, sexy truth debunking the lie. Because to debunk the lie, you've got to go through all these different steps like Mike has been doing. And, oh, here's why that's wrong. And here's that study. And here's that figure. And here's that percentage. And it's kind of boring, isn't it? You've got to admit, it's kind of boring. And so the lie is always going to do better than the truth.
Involved in farming.
So frustrating.
The crops deplete the soil of its nutrients and its carbon content. You need grass and livestock to put that back in the form of manure and the sequestration from the grass.
She pushes this idea that all plant crops alone can't sequester carbon and that grazing and animals are required. But from this analysis of 32 peer-reviewed studies, organic crop farming increased soil organic carbon by 2.2% per year on average. Conventional farming didn't see much change, though obviously we have lost topsoil from that in the past. But just to prove her factually incorrect, we can look to this grazing study out of Tibet that looked at soil organic carbon over 5 years. And what they did was they used exclosures, which is the opposite of an enclosure. So they're excluding animals from being able to graze in a certain area. And that ungrazed area had twice the soil organic carbon as the grazed area at the end of the study, 187 versus 380 grams per kilogram. And we can also just look at the visuals of these exclosures from different sources, and we can see that over and over again, like the denser vegetation remains in the exclosure. And of course, if you have dense vegetation, you have more surface area on photosynthesizing leaves, etc. They're more productive for longer, and then they can store more carbon in the roots. And of course, this is going to vary depending on the environment. Like, let's say you have a relatively arid environment and you're functionally watering it through cattle, like you're going to get more plant growth that way, and we can kind of cook the numbers like that. But even if you are able to store some soil carbon in a grazing system, virtually all these studies are massively undercounting or completely ignoring the methane that is emitted by these cows, which they're basically taking that carbon, they're basically taking the carbohydrates, the carbon in that grass, and multiplying it off into methane, which brings me to the soil carbon saturation limit, which was even mentioned in the White Oaks Pastures report. Now, that was designed to make grazing look good for the environment, and they even mentioned in there that after about 10 or 12 years, you hit a point in which these grasslands aren't storing more carbon, so you're just going to be carbon positive after that anyway.
With our farmers these days, we are always advising them, if they're growing arable crops, to put in a cover crop so that the land isn't bare for a lot of the time. So that helps to reduce the emissions, and also to helps reduce the erosion of the soil by rain and wind and so on. But it doesn't you don't get sequestration of carbon in those arable crops.
And I want to say that I agree with her that cover crops are beneficial. I'm a big fan of cover crops, but they're more beneficial than she's saying. She's saying they don't sequester carbon, which is just wrong based off all the best data. For example, this meta-analysis that says that cover crops' ability to sequester soil organic carbon is highly efficient. We also have this massive analysis of studies saying that, cover crops have the potential to sequester approximately 60 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent per year when planted across 20 million acres, offsetting the emissions from 12.8 million passenger vehicles. And then we have this issue where if you're trying to graze all of these animals, if they're less efficient, they're getting less calorie-dense food, and therefore you need more of them and you need more land. And this study looked particularly at that, finding that in the US, if we were to just rely on grazing, we would only be able to produce about 1/4 as much beef as is currently being made in the US, and we would have to do it with a lot more animals, and that's using all the grassland that we have. So she makes this...
This is a really interesting point, and this is why a lot of people focus on factory farming and making it difficult for factory farms to exist for ethical reasons, of course, but also because if it is incredibly inefficient in terms of the energy in versus energy out, take ethics away, factory farming is a terrible abuse of resources. And so a lot of people, including even people who are not vegan whatsoever and have no interest in animal ethics, they want an end to factory farming. The reason that is good is because of what Mike just said, is that a lot of people prefer to have, what about if the animals graze? Well, that would mean that pretty much, if it was the USA, that means everyone in the USA would have to cut down their meat consumption by 3/4. But they need to eat 3/4 less meat just by that really brief kind of calculation that we were doing here. And that's obviously a good thing. And if factory farming ended, basically that would be the solution, that would be the conclusion of it. So whenever you hear people doing a push and saying, we need to end factory farming, it's important that you get behind them, even if you don't agree with them on anything else apart from that. So imagine if someone's eating meat every day and they say, I want an end to factory farming. It's a good thing to say, yes, I also want an end to factory farming. And that is a very good goal. Then you could talk about the ethics of eating animals and of course still move on to that, but don't undermine that wish that people have to end factory farming. It's important that, maybe you're not going to convince everyone in the world to become a vegan. It's just not going to happen. Actually, it's unlikely that you're going to convince even the majority of people you talk to become vegan. The percentage of people that we're going to be able to convince to actually become vegan is quite low, simply because the world is very anti-vegan. Like everywhere everybody looks, it's all against veganism. And it's a real shame that we have that situation. And I'm eternally grateful to everybody that has the strength and has the willpower to become a vegan. And so if you're watching and you're wondering, oh, should I become vegan? The answer is absolutely yes. And if you do it, you'll be part of a minority of people who see right from wrong and who respect animals and make the changes that reflect that. So, and you are incredible. Thank you. But most people are not going to do that. And that's the reality of it. But if those people actually go out there and say, hey, I'm not going to become vegan, but like I will fight to end factory farming, that is probably about the most impactful thing that somebody can do apart from, you know, not consuming the products themselves. If they're not going to stop consuming the products themselves, the next best thing they can do is rally against factory farming. Because if we eliminate that, God, the world would be such a different place for animals. It would be so significantly better for them. And, you know, a world without factory farming, people would be eating very minimal animal products. And honestly, I feel like in that world, it would be even easier to encourage people to become vegan because they'd say, yeah, I'm only eating meat like once a week anyway, so it'd be easy for me to just stop eating it, you know? Imagine that versus every day as they are now. The reason that people can eat meat every day is factory farming, literally. That's all the reason that it is. Because it's cheap, because it's available, because it's in every store, it's in every bloody product, practically meat and dairy and eggs. And it's affordable and cheap and because of factory farming. So if that goes, everything would change.
Comment about how great sheep are in the UK, and I think I should just hand this over to somebody else who's from the UK, and that is, you know, Guardian columnist and author George Monbiot. Here he is talking about how the UK's land has been sheep-wrecked.
Since the Second World War, with agricultural subsidies, which have encouraged people first to load the hills with sheep and then to clear even more habitat, has been a great acceleration of destruction, so that even the small bits which were left have been cleared away and scoured, and we live now in a sheep-wrecked country.
He talks about how the UK should largely be these rainforests, which people...
I found out about this recently. Growing up in the UK, I always saw countryside, and I thought countryside looked like that, just grass and hills. And then I found out that actually, no, like he just said, the UK had more like a forests. It was actually just mostly trees, mostly forests, and this incredible biodiversity and incredible like plains of grass are not common for that. That was the thing that blew my mind. Like just open fields are not that common practically anywhere in the world. It's a rarity to have open fields, but we're all so used to it because of farming. It is literally farming that's created these fields of just fields and fields and fields of grass. It wasn't there before. That blew my mind when I learned that and made me completely reevaluate what I thought was like beautiful countryside. It's not. It's just farmland, and it's kind of rewired my view of what is and isn't. I don't know. I still feel I look out and I still feel like it looks nice, but I guess it's a conditioned thing. It's just because it's what I'm used to, you know.
People aren't aware of, and that sheep farming in the UK has done to their rainforest what cattle farming has done to the Amazon rainforest, which from this paper, cattle ranching is responsible for at least 80% of Amazon destruction. So he's saying, yeah, they've completely destroyed the landscape with sheep in the UK, and here she is saying that it's amazing.
And wherever you see the fern polypody, the many-footed fern which grows along the branches of oak trees and other trees, that's a sign that rainforest used to grow, and in fact it covered these hills.
All right, now let's get into this claim that
it's awesome, the idea, I mean, that we used to have rainforests in England. That blows my mind, and I imagine what that could have looked like, and it's like, wow, that would have been incredible. And there still are these incredible forests in England. If you go to like a proper wild forest, it's amazing. It's like something out of Lord of the Rings. It's incredible. And the idea that all of the wild country in England was that, and it was all destroyed so that to put animals on the land and graze them, man, it's what a shame. What a shame that we did that, you know.
Beef is more ethical than being vegan in terms of animal deaths.
So I said that figure earlier, about 2,400 insects per square meter of UK land, an insect every 2 centimeters. It takes about a square meter of wheat to grow enough wheat to mill enough flour to make 1 loaf of bread. So that's 2,400 insects have been sprayed on that area of land to produce a loaf of bread. If you get about 24 slices in a loaf, it's 100 dead insects.
Wait, so did he say where he got that number from before he started rambling about this nonsense? 1 second. I must have missed it. Let me check.
In terms of animal deaths.
So I said that figure earlier, about 2,400 insects per square meter of UK land.
2,400 insects per square meter of UK land. So he's got some figure somewhere of how many insects in general are on a piece of land, right? I guess if you go and look at land, and that's if you spread them out absolutely perfectly equally over all the land, you get 2,400 per square meter. But if you are harvesting in a big multiple ton machine, I don't think insects just sit there in the little square meters like he's suggesting, and they're just like, oh, look, the ground is shaking. Interesting. Anyway, no, that's not how it works. Most of the insects and most of the lives, mammals, rats, mice, are going to get the hell away from that machine, right? And there will obviously always be some animals and insects that get caught up in these machines in the same way there are animals and insects that get caught up getting hit on the highway and the motorway. But it's not because they just sit there. It's because the accidents happen. They run out at the wrong time. You know, things happen like that. It's a part of it's like you're walking down the street and sometimes a bug will walk out and you'll stand on the bug. It's not anything. It's just a way of being. The only way you could avoid that is by literally, and I don't know, deleting yourself or living like some kind of monk, which are both impractical, right? So there are things that we have to deal with on a daily basis. There is a cost of us living that we all have to accept. Fine. But the idea that they're putting forward, like as if these machines are just mowing down just all these insects that stay exactly where they are and don't try to escape the clear danger of this multiple ton machine that is shaking the earth like an earthquake it's hilarious that he's trying to make that claim right now. It's so ridiculous.
An insect every 2 centimeters. It takes about a square meter of wheat to grow enough wheat to mill enough flour to make 1 loaf of bread. So that's 2,400 insects have been sprayed on that area of land to produce a loaf of bread. If you get about 24 slices in a loaf, it's 100 dead insects per slice of bread. If you think you're being vegan for environmental reasons, ethical, animal, saving animal reasons, you're not.
So first off, I'm just going to say every time, it's been 4 or 5 times now that these carnivore dieters try and make this claim, they're always doing this crazy appeal to nirvana or appeal to perfection on their side, where they're thinking of this perfect example, this perfect cow grazing in a pasture versus like the worst industrial agriculture for plant production, and then exaggerated uncited numbers often, like this 2,400 figure, which everywhere I look, I'm finding way lower numbers. I've not found that number anywhere. But the reality is, again, that 99% of animals are factory farmed, and even, especially in the US, the ones that are labeled pasture raised, well, they're finished in a feedlot. The ones that are labeled grass fed, often fed grass pellets, or grass that was harvested, so you're gonna have harvest deaths if that's something that you're trying to argue about. And then also how vegans are obsessed with lowering animal deaths, and if the vegan population increased and we had more vegan farmers, if we're gonna appeal to nirvana on all sides, then they're gonna be obsessed with lowering these types of deaths. But then just in terms of actual research here on perhaps some pesticide use on wheat farming, organic wheat farming can be a solution here. Looking to this German paper, they say, quote, to summarize, at present, the use of pesticides in organic wheat production is minimal, which of course means that insect deaths would then relatively be minimal. And since we don't have true research on this, who's to say that minimal pesticide usage in a wheat field is going to kill less insects per calorie or whatever you're comparing than a cow that has to live for 24 months that's going to be stepping on and accidentally eating bugs. I mean, if we want to make these types of minutia arguments, but vegans know that they're not perfect. Well, on the other side, you have somebody trying to justify directly, purposefully, intentionally killing a highly sentient bovine animal. And of course, this would be a topic for another video, but there's a ton of ways that you can farm plants that require less pesticides. There's things like crop rotation and other techniques that are going to lead to less sort of blooms of insect populations and pest populations. And all these carnivore dieters are slamming down chicken and other types of meat that, of course, are fed grain. that would have a massive impact. But there are also other plant foods. You know, if you do want to be comparing different types of foods, that of course would have a way lower impact. I mean, we're talking about things like nuts and fruits, etc. But let's just be completely freaking honest here. This guy does not give a crap about insects. He just wants to justify these animals that he's killing. And a good way to do that is to take the people that aren't killing these animals and say that they're worse by fudging a bunch of numbers and just being a ridiculous ex-poacher, classic ex-poacher behavior.
He's right. Yeah, it's a common playbook actually, and it's not new. The playbook that they're using is not new. It's called accusation in a mirror. You should look into it, guys. Or it's called mirror propaganda. Accusation in a mirror or mirror propaganda. So what they do is they take what the vegans say. In this case, they take what the vegans are saying. Vegans say, hey, look, we're trying to live our lives without funding the breeding, violation, and killing of animals in farming systems and otherwise as well. That's what entertainment, animal testing, clothing, we want to try to create a better world where these things are not happening to animals. And we can do that. And that's what we're trying to do. Great. Okay. So basically, these researchers, they hear, like, oh, we feel bad now because these vegans are saying that we kill animals, right? So then what they do is, okay, we need to do some comeback here. So the message they have is, you guys are killing animals, that's wrong. Great. So we need to find out a way we can throw that back on them. Accusation in a mirror. That's literally it, mirror propaganda. How do we make their message the thing that they're doing? It's really common. It's a really common tactic that a lot of people use. A lot of the bad guys use, let's say. The ones that know they're wrong, they use this a lot. And sometimes it's true. Sometimes the accusations back are legitimate. But most of the time, it's not actually that. It's just propaganda. And that's what's happening here. Look into it. The most common example of it, I think, was with the Rwandan genocide, actually. I think this is the most noted example of it. And it's where basically there was two different tribes of people in Rwanda, and one of the tribes was being unfairly treated badly by the other one. And the tribe that was treating them badly said that those guys who were being treated badly wanted to commit a genocide against them, right? And they convinced a lot of people that the people they were basically bullying, or what I say bullying for simplicity, the people they were bullying, oh, they want to genocide us, they're coming after us. And they used that as a justification to commit genocide on them. This is like the most extreme example of accusation in a mirror. They literally used a fake accusation of them wanting to hurt them or delete them from Earth to actually go out there and try to delete that entire tribe from Earth, try to kill all of them. Insane, right? And so that's a really, really extreme example of the accusation in a mirror. And it's something that a lot of people who eat meat, a lot of people who don't like vegans, is something they really try to do. So a vegan would say, hey, let's try and be good to animals and let's not kill them. And they always come back, so many people, and say, well, you kill animals, because it's really effective. And this is why so many people who don't like vegans use the argument, is because a lot of people get excited by the idea of a vegan killing animals, or a vegan not being perfect, or a vegan being a hypocrite. It gets people really excited. And these are the kind of messages that stick, which what makes it really difficult as a vegan, because all we hear is the same stuff over and over again, because that's the stuff that sticks, but our responses to that stuff doesn't quite stick as hard, unfortunately.
All right, well, in the end, in terms of that brain claim especially, the wild misrepresentation of the actual study needs to be studied because it is so unhinged. Again, it was a study on B12 that didn't even look at diets, and it's from over 15 years ago, while we have newer studies, again, showing that vegans are crushing in terms of B12, as well as one that's 8 times bigger, showing that vegetables are associated with lower brain shrinkage, more so than any other food group. Yet this is Dr. Anthony Chafee, a carnivore dieter's YouTube channel, somebody who's telling you to eat 0 vegetables. And yeah, also their environmental claims are to be expected from somebody that's worked in the livestock industry from 30 years. And yeah, the environmental claims are really exactly what's to be expected from somebody who has been working in the livestock industry for 30 years, that it just has no impact at all. Poof. You know, any methane that a cow burps out, it's just non-existent. It's just natural. Doesn't matter. And then the idea that meat eaters are more ethical than vegans in terms of animal deaths, well, I'll just let you guys comment down below on that one, and then any other responses.
Yeah, it was as bad as I thought it would be. Cheers, Mike, for that one. Definitely solid video and good to get through all of that. It requires, you know, like I said, all the stuff that he pulled up there, all those studies he had access to, all that data. It's difficult to keep up and keep track and have all the information you need. And I'm just so appreciative of Mike the Vegan for making that easy for the rest of us, you know, because I'm not in touch with all these bloody papers he's talking. The environmental stuff, I'm not super clued up on all of that kind of side of things, you know. I know parts, and as you saw, I was commenting in certain parts, and I have some knowledge, but you know, Mike seems to have his fingers in a lot of pies. He seems to have a lot of scientific understanding and lots of resources that he can refer to very quickly and easily, because this video, I mean, this was a couple of days after this whole claim came out, and so it's great that he does that, and so the rest of us can amplify the work that he does, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm amplifying his work and getting it out to more people, and happy to do so. Thanks again, Mike the Vegan. Go and subscribe to Mike the Vegan if you don't already. He puts out really good videos like that one that allow us to get a good understanding and a good grip on some of the nonsense out there that, like I said, is a little bit more complicated to get your head around. And we're going to go from something quite complicated to something quite simple now, and I'm expecting this is going to be very simple. I've got two shorts for us to have a little look at. And this is a guy who claims he cured a vegan. Do you guys know about a guy called Eddie Abu? Have you guys heard of this guy? So this guy is a full-on anti-vegan, and he's a proper numpty from what I can see. Gotta say, I don't have anything really good or charitable to say about the guy. From what I can see, full-on charlatan, full-on just trying to make money. Doesn't seem to be particularly a good dude from what I can see. And to the point where there's a guy on Instagram called Dr. Ids, who, again, is not a vegan. He is a doctor. He criticizes vegans, this guy, Dr. Ids. So totally unbiased. And this guy, Dr. Ids, has destroyed the guy we're about to watch now, Eddie Abu, multiple times, completely debunked him, completely made a fool of him with science, though, with like disproving what he's saying, to the point where it's embarrassing, honestly. So I do not know what this guy is about to say here. It's probably going to be embarrassing. But as CCL's saying in the chat now, he's that much of a prat that even omnivores don't like him. So even people who have nothing to do with veganism have a problem with this guy because he talks a lot of nonsense. So let's have a see what he's saying. He claims he cured a vegan.
You're cured from veganism. Hello, young lady.
This is my daughter, Pearlie.
Are you listening to the video, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And listen, before you get stuff, have you been following what I'm saying? Yeah, of course. Put it there. Of course. Please don't stop. Just eat the foods that make you feel good, okay?
Just eat the foods that make you feel good, okay? Yeah. Don't stop listening to that advice, guys. It's really important advice for you to just eat whatever makes you feel good. You know, donuts, chocolate, Haribo sweets, McDonald's, KFC. Whatever makes you feel good is right for you. That's this guy's core message. I wonder why he's so popular.
Yes. Are you listen? Do you listen to what I'm saying though?
Yes.
Put it there. Put it there. Give me five.
So I was a vegan for almost 10 years.
A vegan for 10 years,
and then she came. She changed my life, literally.
So now you're cured.
And now
you're cured from veganism.
I am not depressed.
I'm not depressed anymore. Thank you.
So there's a second part to this. So before I say anything, we'll load up the second part to see if there's anything else to comment on. Looks like they have a conversation. Let's see.
Thank you.
All right, so it's part 2 apparently.
Thank you. Uncle Eddie, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm not eating all that shitty food.
That's not the same person, right? All right, whatever. I'll comment on the other person who said she was vegan for 10 years, then had a baby, and then he said, oh, you cured from veganism. And she said, yeah, I'm not depressed anymore. Right, okay. Where to begin? Somebody on the street saying something as ridiculous as that, and he's saying he cured a vegan. So let's have a think of the reasons that maybe she went from being depressed to not being depressed. I wonder what something else that changed that she said, something else that might have changed. Oh yeah, she had a baby. What is it that the babies tend to do for people? They do this thing, don't they? What is it? They give you like, what is it? Oh yeah, a sense of purpose and a reason to live. That's what a lot of people who have problems and no place in life and don't know what they're doing and don't know which way to go and all these things. And they have kids to give them a purpose and to give them a reason to live. She said this baby changed her life. So is it which one's more likely? Is it more likely that eating a animal-free diet and being good to animals made her depressed? Or is it more likely that she had some kind of whatever, some misdirection in life and having a baby made her feel like she had meaning? I'm going to lean towards baby making her feel like she had meaning, considering it is literally something that happens to like millions of people. Anyway, let's see the second thing he says. He claims he cured a vegan in the second part as well.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm not eating all that shitty food.
Put it there. It is shitty food. Don't eat it. Sugar is shit.
Every time my husband and I, we always do like really nice cooking, and
Yes.
we check.
So to be clear, he just said sugary shit. This guy, if I'm correct, from memory, I'm pretty sure this guy thinks fruit is bad for you because it has sugar in it. If that's not immediately clear to you why that's absolutely just ridiculous and dumb, it's because there is a massive difference between processed sugar and naturally occurring sugar. Now, obviously, if you eat too many bananas, you're probably not going to feel very good, but bananas are very healthy. Apples are very healthy. The sugar in them is it's unprocessed, naturally occurring sugar, and your body needs sugar. You need energy. Your body makes energy from sugars, from carbohydrates and sugars. So fruit is fine. Processed sugar, if you are not working out, if you're not training, you probably want to avoid it for the most part. If you just sit on your ass all day, you probably don't want to be eating too many sweets and donuts and things like that. I'm pretty sure this guy just puts it all in the same category and just says fruits is the same as candy, which is just completely wrong. And every single actual expert will tell you that he's completely wrong. But he says dumb things. It gets him lots of followers and views, so.
Don't you feel better
But
though?
when sometimes we, happen.
As long as it's not all the time. As long as it's not all
like,
the time.
Uncle Eddie's on.
Put it there.
Thank you so much.
Take care, yeah?
Keep doing
Bye-bye.
what you're doing. Thank you.
So that's got nothing to do with curing a vegan then. Cool. But yeah, it's a real shame that people take this guy seriously because he gets... I mean, I'll show you one of the videos. I'll tell you what, like I'll put my money where my mouth is and I'll show you one of the videos where this guy's getting absolutely embarrassed by Dr. Ids, and you can just see the kind of craziness. Because, I feel like we're exposing hacks right now, and I think it's good that we do a little bit of this because these guys drive a lot of the problems with people that people have with vegans and with eating animal-free diets. It's these guys that are causing a lot of the problems. So it's important that we go and have a look and we make sure that we can address some of the nonsense they come out with. Here we go. So this is the kind of stuff this guy... So here we go. Donut is healthier than an apple, this guy claimed. Let's have a look. This is the same guy we were just watching. And this is Dr. Ids who's doing a response to this guy.
Morning, Eddie. Gun to your head. An apple or a donut? I said, a donut. He goes, you're fucking lying. I said, why would I be lying? Listen. When I first came to the UK, I used to love apples. But all of a sudden, this is like in the early 80s, I used to love apples. Now when I eat an apple, I get itchy tongue, itchy lips. Sometimes my lips swell up and sometimes I throw up. They call it oral allergy syndrome. If I eat this, it's shit, it's fucking sugar. I know it's make me tired. I got all the fucking preservatives and all that shit in it. So I know what this is. But this has been palmed off as something healthy for us. I'm not telling you not to eat fruit, but I'm telling you that. What the fuck have they done to our fruit?
So, ignoring the fact that he just told 4 million people that a donut is better for you than an apple, I want you to notice something subtle but important. Times cool. He's painting this narrative that 40 years ago when he ate apples he was fine, no symptoms. But now they've done something poisonous to our fruit so he can no longer eat them. He believes it's something to do with genetic modification or pesticides, but he admitted in the caption that he first went to his doctor about his allergic reaction symptoms in 1992. I'm pretty sure nothing drastically changed in the production of apples from the 80s to the early 90s. Yet, just because he himself has developed an allergic reaction to certain fruit 30 years ago, he's telling everyone to stick to the donuts. Not everything is a big conspiracy by Big Apple. You donut. That's his missed.
So this is the kind, it's like a taster of the kind of nonsense, this guy. And you should check out, guys, Dr. Ids. He does great videos about all these kind of people. He criticizes a lot of the carnivore people, you know, people who just only eat meat. He criticizes a hell of a lot of them. And he does a really good job. He's definitely helping to, he gets a lot of, you see 580,000 followers. He's got lots of views. You can look on some of these videos, get into the millions, hundreds of thousands. And he's definitely helping in terms of correcting the nonsense around plant-based diets as well. He corrects a lot of people when they talk about, plants are killing you, stuff like that. He's not a vegan himself, but he's definitely an asset, because him not being a vegan means that people will see in that he's not biased, right? He's not telling people certain information because he wants them to stop eating animals. But a lot of the information he has is very, very, very pro animal-free diet. And it's very powerful to have this guy putting this stuff out there. So definitely check him out. And it'll help you to share some of his videos when you see some of the nonsense that people will send you. Someone says, "Oh, look what this guy said about plants or whatever, or about tomatoes," and you'll find pretty much, I don't know, 8 times out of 10, Dr. Ids has done a video debunking them. So that's really helpful, I find. Yep. He also shared the other day. He shared one of Lifting Vegan Logic's posts. So that's pretty cool. Hey, thank you for the tip. Thank you for all you do. I don't have much cash right now, but want to say cheers. Hey, thank you so much. And I saw you put my name in as the donate, but I saw it was Bev. Thank you so much, Bev. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're all very kind today, guys. I massively appreciate it. These streams are, you know, that I feel like we reach quite a lot of people with these streams, and it can be tough when we're getting into our 3rd hour now. So I massively appreciate your support, giving me the energy to keep on pushing on, soldiering on with our stream today. Through a couple hours, because I talk for I don't know if you've noticed, apart from when we're reacting to the videos, but I talk non-stop pretty much for these 3 hours. My throat's doing pretty good today, but sometimes it starts to get a little bit towards the end. Hey, thank you so much, Sensi. Making some yummy tofu to add to my vegan pesto pasta. Great show today, David. Thank you. Hey, thank you so much for being here and cooking as well, doing multitasking. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you still got me on while you're in the kitchen cooking up a storm. It's very cool. All right, I found this video I thought was pretty cool. It's if I were going vegan in 2025, I'd do this. That's the title of this video. I think it's a pretty good title, actually. It could be anything. It's by an account that I've covered a long time ago before, called Sweet Potato Soul. Has 726,000 subscribers. This is pretty cool. I think it might be like a recipe video or something, but hey, the title got me interested, so we're going to check it out. If I were going vegan in 2025, I'd do this.
Happy New Year! Have you set your New Year's resolution yet? I know a lot of you guys are probably going vegan for at least January. Maybe you're doing this thing called Veganuary, or maybe you've just decided you are going to become vegan forever. And today, January, whatever day you're watching this, 2025 is the day you start. So I'm here to help you along your way and to help you finally stick to the goal of becoming vegan in 2025 and beyond. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel and don't already know me, my name is Janae. This channel is Sweet Potato Soul. I have the channel, this YouTube channel, I have a blog, social media, all the stuff, also cookbooks. I have 2 cookbooks, you guys. I have one that came out way back in 2018, and I have a new one that is coming out this year in 2025 called Vegan Vibes. So I got my start as a vegan private chef and blogger. I really just started the blog and this YouTube channel as a hobby way back in 2010 and 2011. but it took off, thank God, and here I am. And over these years, I've been vegan since 2011, by the way. Over the years, I've worked as a health coach, working with people one-on-one, also connected with thousands of people through my blog, Sweet Potato Soul, and this YouTube channel. And over these years, I've definitely learned a lot about helping other people become vegan, what it means to be vegan, the nutrition of
It's a
vegan.
hard
But
sell.
my primary focus is certainly on the food. But in this video, I'm going to tell you the 5 things that I would do as a long-time vegan if I were becoming vegan in 2025. Now, why should you listen to me? Because I've been vegan so long that it is now literally second nature.
Stop, come on, selling it too hard. Give us the 5 things.
And the world is a lot different today than it was when I became vegan in 2011. But I think I quite understand all the challenges that you might come across as a new vegan this year or any year. So I'm gonna make sure that you've got all the tools in your toolbox to make sure that you can succeed in becoming vegan this year. Oh, you do have my cookbook in stock? Great, thanks, bye. Have you ordered my cookbook? Vegan Vibe.
My goodness, this is taking some time. And I think, like, no offense, I can't remember her name. Was it, I don't know, Sweet Potato Soul, we'll say. 7 days ago, this video only pulled in 19,000 views. You've got a massive channel. And I think the reason is this massive intro. I think people probably just clicked away. That's a real shame because I bet there's some good stuff in here, but this is going on a bit. And absolutely no offense. I'm just speaking as a fellow creator here. All right, here we go. Number 1.
First thing that I recommend you do as a new vegan in 2025 is to focus on and eat majority, 80% or more whole foods, cooking at home, making things from scratch, and then reserve the processed foods, ultra-processed foods, eating out at restaurants to no more than 20% of your diet. Now, going vegan is not just a diet to lose weight or like a fast or a cleanse or anything like that. Now, it can be, of course, but the way I approach the vegan lifestyle is as an eating protocol, not a diet. But if you want to be a healthy vegan, you want to make sure that you're nourished, that you are becoming healthier, that you are reducing your risk for all these lifestyle diseases that mostly, so many Americans are dealing with, then one thing is clear. You have to prioritize whole foods.
So I agree, but for a different reason. I would say that the reason to do 80% whole foods and cooking yourself, I would say it's so that you actually learn how to eat a proper diet. Because if you switch, and I mean, I suppose for a couple of weeks you could just be lazy and do all the vegan alternative foods like the vegan burgers and stuff like that. But I think if you're going to do it long term, you should learn how to cook. You should learn how to use the ingredients and like make something tasty that you really enjoy. And I think so. This advice is pretty good. Like if you aim for 80-20 for the majority of the time, you'll learn really quick. You'll get really nice healthy food, and then I'll make you feel better in the long run, which will make it easier for you to stick to this incredible choice you've made to try and make a better world for animals. Because if you're operating in the world as a vegan and people are being crappy to you and you don't eat at the same places with your friends anymore, so a lot of things are changing and you feel bad about those things. And then if you're not eating very well at home and you also feel bad in your body because you're eating too much high salt, high fat crap, or on the other side, you're not eating enough, you're just eating some salad and you're not eating properly, and so you feel bad inside, you feel bad outside, it's going to be really hard for you to stick to this incredible decision you've made. So you've got to make sure you set yourself up for success. So if you've made the connection with animals, you're ethically aligned, you're like, I'm going to stop doing these horrible things to animals, I'm going to stop paying people. That's amazing. Make sure you build the foundations to make sure you can actually do it long term and feel good and feel strong. And so that's why I agree with her on the 80-20 point, but for different reasons.
Eat mostly whole foods. And when I talk about whole foods, what I'm referring to is minimally processed vegetables, fruits, beans, lentils, same category, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Those foods are the most nutrient-dense foods that you can eat, and they happen to be less expensive than processed food. So if you care about budget, know that you are on the right track if you eat this way. Now, these foods are nutrient-dense, they're better on your wallet, and they're better for your body. There are so many benefits to eating a whole food, plant-based diet. When I'm making my plate, I like to make sure I have a balance of all this nutritious food on my plate. A whole grain, a legume like beans or lentils, a vegetable. Usually when I say vegetable, by the way, I am usually talking about like a green vegetable, but there's different types.
Hungry.
There's, green vegetables like broccoli, kale, collard greens, lettuce, things like that, and there's starchy vegetables. Both of those are fabulous. If I'm having a really balanced plate, I want a little bit of both. So let's say whole grains, a legume / protein, couple vegetables like a starchy veg and a non-starchy veg, and then a healthy fat. nut seeds. You can have a tahini sauce, but that gives you a nice, colorful, bountiful, very nutritious meal. Now, you don't have to eat like this at every single meal, but I'm just saying those are the foods that you should definitely try to eat more of if you're eating a healthy, wholesome vegan diet. Now, when it comes to processed foods, right now, there are so many delicious vegan, highly processed, or we might call them ultra processed foods on the market. I'm talking about vegan meats, vegan cheese, vegan cookies, vegan frozen stuff, vegan pizza, vegan this, that, and the other. There's so much good vegan alternatives to animal products on the market right now. Those foods are great. I eat them, but here's the thing. I eat them in moderation. No more, for me, I don't eat them more than 10% of the time. And the reason is they are not nearly as nutrient dense as the whole foods that we just talked about.
Makes sense. Makes sense to not eat them every day. And it makes sense to eat those kinds of things as more like a side thing versus the main thing in every single meal. Because, the thing is, if you make yourself unhealthy and you make it unsustainable to eat that way, then you're going to end up running into problems. And at the end of the day, we don't need vegans to be, if you're a vegan and you've become vegan and you care about animals and you're making a difference for animals, it's not like you need to be like, oh, super healthy. You don't need to be like some bodybuilder or some crap like that. But you need to be able to operate at a good level, right? You need to be able to, move around in the world and get stuff done and do what you need to do. And so you need to be at a good level of health, a relatively good level of health. And I think for most people, what that looks like is, in the same way, if you were not vegan and you were eating out all the time, you wouldn't be healthy. It's the same if you go vegan, you're still going to be unhealthy if you eat out all the time or if you eat microwave meals all the time. So whether you're vegan or not, cooking your own food and making sure it's like balanced and only eating high processed kind of unhealthy stuff occasionally is going to be better for you. And so, with the vegans, it's the same thing. So don't just dive headfirst into like, eating like, I don't know, Impossible nuggets 5 times a day or something like that. Because you might end up not feeling too good and not looking too good either. And you don't want either of those things, right? It's not sustainable for you to keep on living like that.
These foods are really for people who occasionally want to, they eat meat, but today I'm going to have a Beyond Burger because I'm going to make the healthier option. Technically, like if you're looking at cholesterol and saturated fat, you could say they are healthier for you than the meat alternative, but they should not be replacements for wholesome plants. Okay?
I agree with her on that one. Yeah, it's going to be the case that a vegan burger is likely always going to be healthier than a meat burger in terms of the impact it's going to have on your health or the potential dangers that you expose yourself to. But that doesn't mean either of them is healthy. You can have healthy, for example, like a Burger King, what is it? What's the thing they have? What's the main one in Burger King? I have a brain fart. Like the Big Mac at McDonald's and the Whopper at Burger King. The Big Mac might be healthier than the Whopper, but neither of them are healthy. You know what I mean? And so this is the same thing with the vegan alternatives. The Beyond Burger might be on paper healthier than the beef burger, but it's like neither of them is a health food. So if you're looking to be healthy, don't just start eating Beyond products for every single meal. You're probably not going to be doing so good. You want to be cooking some stuff, like she said, with stuff like chickpeas, lentils, nuts and seeds and grains, rices, things like that, starchy stuff, potatoes. You make yourself some good healthy meals as well. Don't just rely on those kind of Impossible or Beyond stuff.
Okay, so eat them in moderation. You can still eat them. I'm not saying you can't eat them, just in moderation in 2025. And the reason is you are going to feel better, you are going to look better, and this way of eating is going to be more sustainable. Oh, and
I agree.
It's going to be less expensive because these highly processed foods are so expensive. So just eat them in moderation. In 2025,
it's pretty good. I agree. It's a good point. It's a good start.
I think it's really important to educate yourself about animal agriculture, the horrors of animal agriculture. That's the reason I became vegan to begin with, way back in 2011. It's because I was working at a vegan restaurant and a lot of my coworkers were vegan and I wasn't though. And they would tell me like, Janae, you really shouldn't be eating this, that, or the other. Do you know what happens to the fish? Do you know what happens to the cows, the dairy cows? And I did not want to listen because I didn't want to face that, you know, my food was coming from a terrible, terrible, terrible place where animals were suffering. But eventually, after a year of working at that restaurant, I started feeling guilty every time I ate animal products, and I did my own research. And you know what? I'm so glad I did. Not only is animal agriculture bad for the environment, bad and cruel to the animals, they're held in confinement, babies are taken away from their mothers, the way they're killed and slaughtered is brutal and just cruel and terrible. It's also bad for the people. It's like the most unsafe work environment for people who work in those industries. And on top of all of that, it's totally unsanitary. A couple things. The animals are kept in such tight quarters that they have to be fed antibiotics and they're constantly getting sick. Also, whenever there's a huge outbreak of these diseases, they have to kill all of the animals to put an end to the outbreak. And so when these animals are kept in these conditions and they have to be pumped with antibiotics, that stuff, it ends up in the food system and in the meat that you eat and the dairy that you consume, but it also creates antibiotic resistant strains of bacteria that have the potential of escaping the factory farms and going out into the public and making all of us sick.
So yeah, a lot of what she's saying here is absolutely the case. We talk about all these, everybody remembers what happened from 2020, 2019-ish to, 2023 or whatever it was when things started to get back to normal again. And it's, if you don't want more of that, then don't force thousands and thousands and thousands of animals into cramped tiny little spaces and pump them with antibiotics and expect that things are going to be all right, because things aren't all right. And they're probably not going to be all right so long as we keep doing that. Another thing that she kind of got close to but didn't get deeper into, obviously she spoke about the animals in farming, and I think most people know at this point that animals in farming don't have good lives. They might have moments where they're happy, like if a cow in a field isn't, maybe they're having a great time in the field, but it's not like their lives are good. They have been born with the destination of being killed at a tiny fraction of their lifespan, being killed by being shot in the head or electrocuted or gassed, having their throats cut so somebody could enjoy a burger. I mean, it's not a good life. It's not a good thing that's happening to them. So we established that, and I think that is really important to get our heads around. But one thing she also mentioned was about workers, about working in these places and how these are really, really dangerous jobs. And that is true. And it's not only dangerous because of the work itself that they're working with, machinery and crazy dangerous stuff that chops animals to pieces and cuts through spines and bodies, and yes, that is true, absolutely. The other reason it's dangerous is psychologically. So people that do this work, they suffer from PTSD, they suffer from antisocial behavior, they suffer from violent domestic abuse behaviors like this. It's very common to see domestic violence within people who work in these jobs, and you can see that by look over the years, and you'll find multiple instances of workers attacking other workers. They've been stabbing each other. They've been shooting each other in the car parks outside of the places where they're doing all this stuff. And it's not that they are violent people and that's why they killing each other and everything. It's because the work damages people. It destroys your soul. It destroys your brain. Psychologically speaking, you are a mess. It's the same reason you'll see some people who've been through different forms of trauma, they become deeply antisocial and dangerous, potentially violent people, because you're screwed. You need therapy. You need help. Potentially medication after this kind of thing, and killing animals 9 hours a day, most of them being babies, and seeing that they're all terrified, they're all looking at you, terrified of you, and looking them in the eye, and then shooting them or stabbing them. Well, yeah, it's going to make you insane. And then the guys who are also doing the other work, chopping up the bodies of these animals that they've just seen screaming and cowering in fear, now they're cutting them up into pieces. And you've got to almost be, we mentioned this earlier, you've got to almost be kind of psychopathic with it. You've got to disconnect from it and just look at them as things and not even think about it. Don't even think about that this animal was begging for their life about 5 minutes ago, that they were looking you in the eyes and terrified of you and cowering away from you. You can't think about it. You've got to have this complete emotional disconnection. And it's kind of psychopathic. You have to kind of voluntarily become a psychopath. So is it any surprise that these people end up having these kinds of violent behaviors in other parts of their life when they're literally having to completely pretend that these lives aren't real lives and that these animals don't feel or anything? Is there any surprise that bleeds into the rest of their lives and they end up killing humans too. I mean, it messes them up. So no, she's absolutely right to point out what she pointed out here. And so far, I agree with everything she's saying in this video.
There are so many reasons to not participate in that way of eating. So educate yourself. Go beyond what I just told you about the animal agriculture. Read more into it, watch some movies, learn more, and really give yourself a good understanding of the reality of animal agriculture. I think it'll make it easier for you to stay focused and stick to this way of living. And you notice I call it a way of living because it's beyond what you eat. It's, you know, for me as a longtime vegan, it's like I don't buy leather, I don't buy wool. I just like I try to be a conscious consumer beyond my food choices as well. I try to shop at the farmer's market when I can. I'm not perfect, and this is important. Being vegan is not about perfection. Well, this leads me to my next point. It's very important.
So I think it's great that what she's covering there. I think connecting with the animals is a great motivation to keep you on track with this decision that you've made to become a vegan, or whether it is that you've become a vegan and that you're actually not buying leather, or that you've made that full decision to think about all the other things like animal testing and animal entertainment, and that you're actually going to be like a full-on vegan. You disagree with using animals and exploiting animals, and if you're that, or if you've just decided to cut all animal products out of your diet, whichever one you're doing, it's important to get the motivation to do it, proper motivation. Now, some people, when they change their diet, they're motivated by personal health. Some people are motivated by environmental factors. But I truly believe the most powerful motivation for you to absolutely stick to this is, because when you look at health, you can't really get a proper connection. When you look at the environment, I mean, what's your motivation? Like the rising sea levels or the temperature? No, go and look an animal in the eye. Go and look a pig in the eye. Go look a cow in the eye. Go to a slaughterhouse and stand outside and watch the trucks going in and look at the animals in those trucks. And it sounds crazy, but do it. I mean, why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you go to see what's happening so you can actually see what you are no longer supporting and feel, you know, the strength of saying that I am no longer paying for this to happen. I'm no longer telling these people I want this to happen. I think it's a powerful thing to do. If you can't get out to a slaughterhouse to watch a video, watch a documentary like Dominion and look at those animals and look into their eyes and see the suffering and the fear and realize that this is not a burger, this is not a piece of cheese, this is not an egg. This is a very real creature, a very real individual, a personality here, not a product, an actual personality, an actual, you know, living, breathing, emotional animal. And once you connect that, I think that is a huge motivation to keep making these changes to make a better world for animals. Without that motivation, I feel like it's difficult to stick to these decisions. I mean, health, no one really cares that much about their health. Environment, yeah, I mean, we all care to some level, but I mean, people are not making that many changes to help the planet, let's be honest. But when there's a life or death scenario here, when there's an animal that thinks and feels and has a similar view of the world as your pet dog, as your pet cat at home, or even your child, they see the world in a similar way to a child. Paying somebody to stab them, once you've made that click, that connection, I mean, it becomes very difficult to go back to paying somebody to hurt them, right? So I totally agree with her again. Make that connection, make an effort, watch a documentary like Dominion and make the connection.
This year, and whenever you're making a big lifestyle change like becoming vegan, it's very important to have a plan for how you're going to handle your hiccups when you fall off the bandwagon, because it is inevitable. We all make mistakes. So have a plan for getting back on track. Like I said, if you're in a situation where you're traveling or you're at your grandma's house and you feel compelled to consume an animal product, that does not mean that you cannot go back to eating vegan when you're back at home. And just because, like, let's say you're on a vegan streak, right? You've been on a vegan streak for 3 months and then you fall off. Okay, technically you broke your streak. Yes, that's true. But you shouldn't feel so bad. Stuff happens to all of us, right? And if you feel so bad that you give up, then you'll never get to where you're trying to go with this way of eating. So have a plan, journal about it. Know, yes, when I fall off or when I make a mistake, I already know I'm going to be kind to myself, I'm going to be patient with myself, and I'm going to get back on track like nothing happened. It didn't take me too long for it to become second nature. But for...
Yeah, I agree with what she's saying here, to be honest with you. And it's important. I mean, it's not something look, it's not something that in my position and how I've been, you know, a vegetarian my whole life, and I've been vegan for, I keep saying 15 years. It's probably longer now. I don't know. I don't have a good grasp of time. Between 14 and 17 years, something like that is how long I've been vegan for. And no, I don't make mistakes now really ever, and I especially don't make conscious mistakes. You know what I mean? I don't go, oh, I'm going to eat that thing because, you know, I'm having a weak moment. I don't do anything like that, and lots of vegans don't. But the thing is, it's just because lots of vegans don't do that doesn't mean that that's normal. Actually, it's far more normal for people to make actual mistakes like oops, and also for people to make conscious mistakes, as in grandma pressures them and they give in. That is way more expected than them saying no. And that's because the world that we're in is not a vegan-friendly world at all. 99% of your family and friends are not vegan. 99% of food that is available in restaurants and all the places where your friends want to go eat is not vegan. And so mistakes are going to happen, whether they are genuine mistakes or whether it's something that somebody regrets later. Like they say, oh, they give into peer pressure, they eat something, and then later on they go, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen probably a lot for a lot of people. And I agree with what she's saying here, that if this happens, don't just rip up the entire road. You know, don't rip up the whole road because you found one little hole in the road. Okay, you don't need to rip up the whole thing because you found a little pothole. Just fill in the pothole. Okay, you did something silly, you regret it, you're now thinking about the animals, you feel guilty about it. Right. Do you know what you can't do? You can't change what happened. Can't change it. But what you can do is change what happens next. So just keep on going and get back to what you were doing before and learn from it. So say grandma pressured you into eating a piece of meat, right? Okay, you feel that you shouldn't have done that later on. All right, so what happens now then? Well, oh, do you throw everything out the window? Okay, I'm going to eat meat every day then? No, that doesn't make any sense. You say, right, grandma pressured me. So now I've learned that grandma pressures me. Great. So next time before I go to see grandma, I'm going to let her know I'm going to bring my own dish and I'm going to eat my own dish because you don't need to tell grandma the whole reason. She might not understand. If you feel like it's going to cause a problem, just for the sake of keeping it simple, you just say, hey, grandma, I'm on a diet right now, special diet. Don't need to explain veganism and the ethics to grandma. She might not get it. It might be a problem. I'm on a special diet right now. I'm going to bring my own food. Is that okay? Yeah, that's okay. Then no pressure from grandma, right? So you just got to learn. You just got to learn. And yeah, I agree. Don't beat yourself up if you have one slip, if you have one thing that happens and goes wrong. If you beat yourself up about it and end up, you know, pressuring yourself into giving up, that's not good. That's not helping animals at all. Stick with it, figure out what happened, learn from it, and continue on making the world a better place for animals by not supporting these horrible things that happens to them. Don't pay people to hurt animals because you had one mistake, is the message. Absolutely. So I agree. Even though I at this point, I don't identify with that. And I'm quite a stubborn person, you see. So I'm quite fortunate in that I've always been a very stubborn individual. So when I decided I was going to be vegan, that was there and then for me. You were never going to, like, I did the same thing when it's not only because of, like, it's obviously it's easy for me because of the connection with animals and the ethics. And so I never even think about going back, right? Or making a mistake or whatever. But I'm a very stubborn person in all aspects of my life. So for example, I quit drinking alcohol about 3 years ago. And there's no moral reason I quit drinking alcohol, but I'm so stubborn that I actually quit, like, overnight, boom, no more alcohol. So I'm blessed to be quite a stubborn person. And I know some people aren't. But if you are, great. If you aren't, you know, learn to be a little more stubborn, I'd say, right? Try and build up some mental fortitude and a bit of a thick skin. And I don't know, read some self-help books maybe about how to stand your ground and not let people walk on you and not let people convince you to do things you don't want to do. But I understand that most people fall into that category. Most people find it hard to stand up for themselves and they find it hard to fight against the peer pressure. So it's important, in summary, to not let that rip up the whole road for you if you find one little pothole. All right?
To really become second nature, where you don't even look like, you're not even like a side eye at the foods you used to like, that's just going to take just sticking with it. Fall off the bandwagon, get back on. And before you know it, It's just all going to be easy. It really will. I'm telling you, it will become easy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use that
second
word,
nature.
easy, because a lot of people will be like, oh, how do you do it? How do you do it? No, it's easy. I don't think about it. And that can be you also in the future. Well, just stick with it.
It's true.
If you're going,
It's true. It does become second nature. That's true. It becomes something that's just, it just is now. It's not like a special thing. It's just, yeah, that's me. Yeah, I totally agree.
vegan in 2025, here's something that I think is super important. Making vegan friends, surrounding yourself with other vegans, going to places where there are vegans. Just, I recognize whenever you need to do, like, let's speak for myself, whenever I want to make a serious life change, right? Like earlier, like last year, actually, 2024, I started playing tennis and I was really bad at it. I'd never held a tennis racket in my life, but I became obsessed with it immediately. Now, I didn't have any friends who played tennis at all. So how am I going to practice when none of my friends even do this thing? I started watching tennis. I started hanging out with my tennis friends from class. I started practicing with them, and I got better at playing tennis. And now I'm a pro. No, I'm not a pro, but I'm better. And I'm still obsessed.
It's good advice.
But when it comes to starting this lifestyle, this vegan lifestyle, I think it's really important to make vegan friends. And if none of the people around you are vegan and you don't know how to make vegan friends, maybe just go online, join like a Facebook group for vegans, new vegans, or whatever if you have like an identity, like for example, way back when I joined like Black vegans group, and I'm in a Atlanta vegans group. And that's a really nice way to hook up with people and meet people. And you can often take those internet relationships into the real life. Go out to eat with these people if you want. I've never done anything like that, but
it's important to do that, yeah. And I've had a couple of people over the years, well, not more than a couple. I've had a lot of people over the years DM me and saying, "Hey, David, I don't know any vegans in my area. I'm really struggling to just, I don't know, live a fulfilling life. I feel like I have no friends and no friends that understand me and things like that." And I said, where are you based? And they say, "Oh yeah, I'm based in this place." And then I go on Facebook and I put the name of the place and vegan, and there's always something. There's a page or there's a group. And then I link them and I'm like, "Hey, do you know about this group?" And they're like, "No, there's so many vegans here. What the hell?" It's one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you. Just go on Facebook, the name of your city or the name of your country and the word vegan after it. And you will find Facebook groups, and they have regular meetings most of the time, potlucks or whatever, go meet at a restaurant, all that kind of stuff. And if they don't have a group or they don't have these meetings, be the person to start the group, be the person to start the meetings. Facebook is still the best place for it because it's the only platform where you can set this up easily and where other people will find it as well. I think it's that's been the most successful for me, absolutely, anyway, and loads of people. It's a really good way to meet other vegans.
some people do that. Another thing is to go to vegan events. There's like every city has a veg fest now. Not every city, but most cities have a veg fest. And if they don't have a full-on veg fest, they have vegan events throughout the year. I know here in Atlanta, we have this thing every Wednesday night called the Vegan Social. It's so much fun, so much different food. You can meet all different types of people, and it's a weekly. I live in Atlanta though, so there's a lot of vegans here. But you can find something in your area, maybe. If you live in a big city or a moderate-sized city, there's probably a vegan event that you could go to. If it's not weekly or monthly, it's like at least a couple times a year. So look those up and plan to go. And I promise you, you will meet such awesome, cool people. You'll hear great stories, you'll eat great food, and you might go home with a new friend. I don't know if you're gonna go home with them, but you might go home having made a new friend.
You might go home with them too. The vegan dating circle is pretty small, so people get excited, and yeah, you never know. It's more likely within the vegan world, to be honest with you, than it is outside. Vegans get excited about meeting other vegans. So there is a great event that I would recommend if you're in the UK or if you're in Europe, especially. It's not that big of a trip. The Vegan Campout Festival over in the UK. It's absolutely incredible. 7,000 vegans this year. Last year it was more like 13,000, but they've made it a bit smaller this year for some reasons. For some good reasons, though, it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot better this year, I think. And it's going to be in August, late August, I think it was, or maybe it's early September. Just go to vegancampout.co.uk. Actually, do you know what? I tell you what, I'll give them free promotion because here we go. So. Yeah, you go. Late August, I was right, and also September, I was right on both accounts. August 29th, September 1st, it's an incredible festival. They have around 50 food stalls, all vegan food stalls. They have multiple people, awesome people on the lineup speaking. So I'll show you who we've got on the lineup. They got Bosch, got Sarah Pascoe, comedian, Kip Anderson from Cowspiracy. What the Health, and Cowspiracy. Josh Franceschi from Yumi at 6. Very cool band I used to listen to a lot. Got Delvins, Matt Pritchard, loads of people anyway, and all giving talks. And also, I'll let you know also that I will be there. And yeah, I'll be doing some cool stuff there, some exciting things there as well. I'm going to do an announcement at some point, so I'm not going to tell you yet what I'm doing there. But I'm doing some cool stuff there. So if you want to come hang out with me as well, say hello, chill, get some food together, stuff like that, come to Vegan Campout. I'll be there. And also I'll be doing some cool stuff as part of the event as well. So be there for that.
And then, another thing that I think is so underrated, and I don't even do it enough anymore, but visit a farm sanctuary. In 2025, this is your year to go to a farm sanctuary.
Yep.
Farm sanctuaries
Good
are
advice.
farms that serve as sanctuary for animals that have been rescued from the animal agriculture system, sometimes from like horrible abusive situations. Like, check out something called Farm Sanctuary. They are one of the oldest farm sanctuaries here in the United States. They're based in New York. They also have another one in California. But if you go on their Instagram, they have such amazing, compelling stories about the animals. But wherever you live, you might have a farm sanctuary or a few nearby. They're popping up all around the country right now. When you go to a farm sanctuary, the greatest thing is you get to actually meet the animals. You get to hear the animal stories, not from them because we don't speak animal, unfortunately, but you get to hear their stories and you get to see them in their natural habitat, like especially for these farm animals. You get to see that cows, that pigs, that chickens, that turkeys actually have their own personalities. You get to learn about these animals, and it is such a great motivator
Good advice.
for not eating them when you actually get to see them, when you get to hear about their friendships, and when you get to see them just like happy and thriving. And I gotta say it, acting like your pets at home, because so many of us have this disconnect between we love our dogs, we love our cats at home, but it's okay. Like pigs, who cares about pigs? They're filthy. We don't need to worry about their welfare.
That's what people
But let me
say.
just tell you, those pigs are smarter than your dog at home, which is proven. And we don't even understand as humans how smart animals really are. We don't really fully understand their inner workings. And I just know they're not automatons. They're not like feelingless automatons or robots or anything. So they are worth protecting. They are worth, being able to live in harmony and peace and not in suffering and cruelty and the horrible stuff. Okay, I'm gonna leave some links in the description box down below for movies you can watch, books you can read, and also farm sanctuaries that you should check out. But I'm telling you, what I'm leaving down below is not an exhaustive list, so you can do your research and find even more farm sanctuaries. I'm also going to talk about, I'll post some links to the vegan events too, so check those things out,
cool.
and then I'll give you ideas of what you can look for in your area if you are not in the area of, I'm pointing down like this is a description box. But those will give you ideas of types of events and such that you can check out in your area too. This brings me to my final point. Now this is a toughie, my friends. I was gonna make a whole video about this and I haven't yet, but maybe we'll save it for like when I do my podcast later. But this is tough, y'all. You've got to set boundaries with your family and your friends. The most difficult parts about going vegan or any huge lifestyle change is the other people in your life. The other people in your life who don't support you, who
we were talking about this before.
just like do whatever they're doing, who are dismissive of your lifestyle changes or whatever you want to do. That is the biggest hurdle most of us have to overcome. So what do we do here? The first thing is to set boundaries. You need to understand your why. You need to have a plan for yourself. Like if you're going vegan for January, it's January. If you have a plan to go vegan for all of 2025, it's all of 2025. But be clear on how long am I sticking with this? What am I doing? Is there a goal you're trying to attain? I don't know. Whatever that is for you, be clear about it. Then, when you speak to your family and your friends, be clear with them and let them know why you're doing this. They need to respect your decision. Now, the hardest part is when you are in a household and nobody else is vegan and they think your food is weird and nasty and da-da-da-da-da. And even worse, if you have to cook the other food, the non-vegan food for your family members. But I recently I went to a vegan conference in Huntsville, Alabama, and there was another speaker and she talked very clearly, and I even asked her my question for y'all. what do you do? Because this woman, she has like 3 or 4 children and a husband, and she was the main cook. And I said, what did you do in this situation where your children are old enough that they have their own tastes? So they're not just gonna they're not babies where you feed them anything. Your husband, obviously, he's got his own taste, and you're trying to make a huge lifestyle change of going vegan. And she wasn't just going vegan, she was going like whole food, plant-based vegan that was basically prescribed by the doctor. No oil, very little sugar, that's a little bit more difficult way of eating, for sure, especially if you're like medium sweet.
We're getting a little bit into the weeds here, aren't we? I feel this is going on a little bit into a tangent. So no offense, Sweet Potato Soul, but I'm going to deal with your point myself. I'm going to answer it in the way I think that I would like to answer it. I hope that's not too offensive, but I agree with the point you're making. I don't think I'm patient enough to get through this segment on what this other person said on stage. So the point was that you got to set boundaries with the people around you, which I do agree with. You've got to set yourself up so that they are aware of what you're doing. And I think in the beginning, maybe they don't need to know why you're doing it, because I think that can be the thing that causes more problems. I said that earlier about if grandma is wondering why you're doing this. I guess in the beginning, you could just tell them to just to smooth yourself into it and to not cause too many issues in the beginning of when you're making this decision to become a vegan and to do good things for animals. You could just tell them, hey, it's just a personal thing. I'm just trying this out. And but I'm quite serious about it. So, I hope that's not going to bother you, but I'm going to do my best to do this, and it'd be nice if you could help me. In the beginning, I think that would be right in the beginning would be a good thing to do. I think a lot of vegans, we make the mistake of, okay, we say, I'm vegan now because it's what we do to animals is wrong. And then we launch that kind of on people who are all of a sudden like, wait, what the hell? And they kind of get annoyed and they get defensive and they get aggressive. And so I think maybe in the first couple of weeks, maybe first couple of months while you're getting your feet, getting settled, building your foundations, maybe don't get into arguments with everybody around you during that, and just tell them like, oh no, it's just something I'm doing. I'm doing it for me, or whatever it is, just to keep things going. Then once you're settled in and you've got everything going and you're solidified, you understand, you need to look into it too. You need to understand really why you've made this decision, and watch documentaries, get your head around it. What do I tell people as to why I'm vegan? What do I want to tell people? How do I want to represent myself? And once you build your social circle too. You meet more vegans and you get some moral support, some emotional support, and you feel like, confident. Then maybe begin talking to your family and friends about, the ethical reasons to be vegan and talk about the animals. I think that's a sensible way of going about it, to be honest with you. I think that's the way you could set boundaries in a way where, just please help me. I'm taking this seriously. I want to do this. I want to give this a go. Set that boundary of, I'd appreciate your help with this. I'd appreciate you supporting me, kind of thing. And leave the tough conversations a little bit further down the line. Because how about this, right? Imagine this, in the first couple of weeks, you say something like that to your mum or grandma. You say, this will mean a lot to me if you help me with this, because it's something I feel quite strongly about. I really want to give this a good go. I want to get into this. I want to smash it. I want to eat animal-free food. I want to learn, and I really want your help. And they might say, okay, that sounds cool. Yeah, we're interested. That sounds nice. Maybe we'll try some food too. Then a month later, you bring up the animal point and you start talking about the ethics, and actually, I saw what happens in dairy farming, and they force their arms inside cows, and look at this, look what they take the baby away, and then they kill the baby if the baby's a boy, and they kill the mum as soon as they don't give any bloody milk. And look at what they're doing in the meat industry. They're killing these poor animals. Look how they kill them. Look what they do to them. That conversation a month later, after they are already eating more plant-based food because you were cooking it for them, and after they're quite open to it because you were quite like, hey, I want to do this, they're quite accommodating, that conversation will probably go down a lot better than if you just, the day you become vegan, suddenly tell them, you're all animal abusers, look at this. I feel like there's some strategy in there, right? And also it would help you too. It would help you to focus on yourself and focus on the change you're making, rather than focusing on arguing with people until you've been doing it for some time, and then maybe you can test the water and start to bring these points up and see how it goes. I think that's what I would consider setting boundaries. That's the kind of, if I could do it from zero now, right? That's how I would do it. I'd set it out. I'd go, okay, then here's how I'm going to do it. for the first couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, I'm just going to like do it this way. And then I will start to tell people the real, you know, the real backbone to this and why I'm doing this and the animals, and a little later after they've all got used to it. Yeah. Great. What do you guys think? Does that make sense? Is that logical? I feel like that's quite logical. I think we've got to think about things strategically, I think. And there's no use just running in and smashing our heads against a brick wall and hoping some pieces fall off. I think we've got to actually work on how to bring these walls down. And that involves, you know, tools. It involves a chisel and a hammer and dunk, 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 and pulling it out brick by brick. Because if you just go to a wall and smash your face against it multiple times, which is what I feel like a lot of us do as vegans, we just tell people and just hope they'll get it. And some people do, but a lot of people just, they're a brick wall and they're just like, go away, you know, get away from me. So you got to spend a little bit of time with get the right tools in the right places and dink, 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 dink. Brick by brick, right? Brick by brick. That's what I think. Guys, it's been a stream. We've had a good one. I've had a lot of fun with you guys today, and we've done a lot of important stuff as well. It's that good combination of entertainment and serious stuff. Entertainment and education, edutainment, I suppose you could call it. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's donated today and who's joined the team. It's been incredibly rewarding for me actually to sit here and have so many of you support me like that. I can never say thank you enough times. Genuinely, it's overwhelming. So again, thank you for that. I really hope this stream has helped. If you're not a vegan, I really hope this stream has helped you to understand some of the reasons that we are vegan, and that the reasons that somebody like me sits here and tries to, you know, put this stuff out there. I really do want to make the world a better place for animals, and I hope these videos are achieving that. So if this has achieved that for you, do me a favor and tell me in the comments down below. Tell me something you learned today that you didn't know about that's going to help you make the world a better place for animals. Or tell me something you're going to do thanks to seeing this video that's going to help the world make a better world for animals. I'd really appreciate that feedback. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe. And if you want to support me like the other amazing people who've supported me today, please do consider joining the Patreon team, which is, Annie will put the link in the comments, patreon.com/David Rams, or the YouTube memberships team. Two great ways to support the work that I'm doing here on the channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's already in the team on both of those platforms. And guys, keep on keeping on. Hey, stay strong. Keep smashing it. Keep speaking up for animals. I'll catch you all in the next video.